in one piece. At the beginning, it merges with One Punch Man. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 26, Smoker's Awakening. Everyone, look. Bai Ye and Colonel Smoker are fighting. Someone not far away noticed the fight between Bai Ye and Smoker and shouted loudly, "What? Why is Bai Ye fighting Colonel Smoker? How could this happen? What happened?" The crowd that had dispersed before gathered again, watching the fierce battle in the center with nervous expressions. On one side was Colonel Smoker, and on the other side was Bai Ye, whom they regarded as a role model. They never thought that these two people would actually fight. White fist. After Smoker turned his arms into smoke, he stretched out his smoke-like fists and fiercely fired at Bai Ye. The two fists kept spiraling and intertwining in the air, leaving a long white smoke in the air, as if an angry dragon was roaring. Bai Ye sneered, "Fancy." Bai Ye punched the dragon's head, and the whole smoke dragon collapsed. "Although you are very strong, don't underestimate me, bastard." Smoker turned his lower body into smoke, making his lower body like a jet, and flew quickly by quickly ejecting smoke, leaving a large amount of smoke around Bai Ye to confuse Bai Ye. Smoker kept shuttling in the smoke, attacking from time to time. Bai Ye kicked away the 10 hands attacking from the right side, and punched Smoker's chest again. Smoker quickly used elementalization again, and his fist passed through his chest, leaving Smoker unscathed. Bai Ye snorted lightly. Worthy of being a natural devil fruit, the elementalization ability is really annoying. Without mastering the armed color domineering, there is really no particularly good way to deal with natural fruits. He can only launch attacks again and again, constantly consuming the physical strength of the natural fruit ability user. Although Bai Ye could not cause effective damage to Smoker, Smoker had no way to deal with Bai Ye. He didn't know why Bai Ye was so powerful, whether it was strength, speed, or reaction. After a fight, he did not cause any damage to Bai Ye, and his physical strength was almost consumed by half. If he continued like this, he might not be able to hold on for much longer. Bai Ye is so strong. Colonel Smoker used the power of the fruit, but he still couldn't defeat him. "If I get married, I must marry someone as handsome and strong as Bai Ye," the male soldier on the side said helplessly. "It's time to be crazy. Find a way to stop this battle." "How to stop it? We don't even have the qualifications to participate in this battle." At this time, the battle between Bai Ye and Smoker also entered a white-hot stage. Bai Ye was already tired of this ineffective battle. This further strengthened Bai Ye's idea of going to the Navy elite training camp to learn domineering. "Hey," I said, "besides elementalization, do you have any other means? It's boring to fight like this." Smoker looked focused, still hiding in the smoke, and attacking Bai Ye from time to time. "Come again," Bai Ye said impatiently. "Do you really think that I can't do anything to you just because you've transformed into an element?" Bai Ye sensed the moment when Smoker appeared. Just as a 10-handed attack came from behind, Bai Ye did not dodge, but went for it instead. "Let go." Bai Ye groaned and snatched the 10-handed attack from Smoker's hand. Then he rushed into the smoke, sensing Smoker's position, waving the 10-handed attack, and slashing it down. Bang! A deafening sound of steel interlacing sounded in the smoke, and the 10-handed attack in Smoker's hand was directly knocked out more than 10 meters away. Bai Ye swung the 10-handed attack and hit Smoker's abdomen with a sweep, knocking Smoker out of the elemental state. This time, Bai Ye did not hold back. A bright red mark appeared on Smoker's abdomen, and he felt severe pain in his abdomen. Smoker felt that his whole body was split in half by the stick, and even moving was a luxury. Bai Ye put 10 hands on Smoker's chest to prevent him from using elemental transformation again. The winner was decided. The soldiers watching were shocked and said, "Colonel Smoker actually lost." They couldn't believe what was happening before their eyes. Colonel Smoker is a natural devil fruit user, and Colonel Smoker was the top of the 25th Marine Elite Training Camp, but he was defeated by Bai Ye, who was not even a rookie. At this time, a question arose in everyone's mind: how strong is this Bai Ye? Smoker lay on the ground and supported himself with difficulty. Looking at Bai Ye, who looked normal, he couldn't help but feel a strong sense of frustration. As a natural fruit user, he actually lost to a person who didn't even know how to use haki. And the main reason for his failure was the sea stone weapon he carried. Such a blow was too heavy for Smoker, who always thought highly of himself. Smoker couldn't help but recall what Zephyr had said to him in the elite training camp. Smoker, don't think that you are a natural ability user, so you can only develop your fruit ability and relax the training of other abilities. If you always have such a mentality, you will definitely suffer a great loss in the future. At that time, Smoker didn't take Zephyr's words seriously. In his opinion, the three admirals of the Navy, Akainu, Kizaru, and Aokiji, are all natural devil fruit users who have developed their fruit abilities to the extreme. They have become the top figures on the sea. And he is also a natural devil fruit user. As long as he develops his fruit ability well, he will definitely become as strong as the three admirals. But now it seems that he is wrong, very wrong. Bai Ye looked at Smoker lying on the ground with a lost look and couldn't help frowning. I didn't hit him on the head with that stick. Could it be that he was knocked stupid? Hey, are you comfortable lying on the ground? Hearing Bai Ye's words, Smoker woke up from his trance and climbed up from the ground with difficulty. Bai Ye asked, what was your first thought when I attacked you just now? Smoker pondered for a moment. You betrayed the Navy. I want to arrest you. What if I don't cooperate? Then, I will find a way to kill you. Bai Ye clapped his hands and said, that's it. Smoker finally understood why Bai Ye suddenly attacked him. It turned out that it was all because of his previous problems. This made Smoker feel amused and helpless for a while. Can't you talk about it properly? Do you have to beat me up? But it was precisely because of this beating that Smoker realized his shortcomings and understood his direction. Smoker took a deep breath and said, thank you. Bai Ye looked at Smoker in surprise. Good guy. This guy's not really knocked stupid by me, right? Chapter 27. The Killer. Those who participate in the Navy Elite Training Camp need to first undergo a short training period in Rogue Town. Within a week, someone from the Navy headquarters will naturally come to pick them up. Bai Ye naturally does not need to participate in such relatively basic training. Such training intensity will not have any effect on him at all, and it is just a waste of time. For Bai Ye's special treatment, other soldiers just think it is natural. There is no way who lets him be strong. Perhaps the soldiers who have not seen the previous scene may have some complaints in their hearts. But any soldier who has seen Bai Ye fighting with Smoker thinks that Bai Ye is pretending to be by not participating in the training. In order to eliminate the possible dissatisfaction of a small number of people, Colonel Smoker even said that, as long as someone can defeat him like Bai Ye, then, he can also not participate in the training. Defeat Smoker? They can only yai this kind of thing in their hearts, and no one dares to challenge it. Not everyone is the monster that Bai Ye is. In this way, Bai Ye has become the most leisurely navy in Rogue Town. Compared to the hard time of searching for pirates on the sea for a month, the life of going out to eat and hang out whenever he has nothing to do is simply heaven. That day, when Bai Ye was about to go out again, Smoker suddenly came. Want to go out for a walk? I have nothing to do today, so I'll go out with you and be your guide. Since Bai Ye defeated Smoker, Smoker's attitude towards Bai Ye was no longer the attitude of a superior to a subordinate. The two of them are now on an equal footing. For a normal person, if he was defeated by his subordinate in front of his subordinates, he would be considered broad-minded if he did not seek opportunities to retaliate. But Smoker not only did not retaliate, but also treated Bai Ye as a friend. Such a thing, it is estimated that only a relatively different character in the Navy, like Smoker, can do it. Bai Ye also has no ill feelings towards a character like Smoker. Whether it is from the original work or the interactions in the past few days, Smoker is worthy of the word justice. Under the leadership of Smoker, Bai Ye drank all the famous taverns in Rogue Town. The two of them went out early in the morning and drank until the sun went down before they started to walk back. The square in Rogue Town, which was originally bustling with people, was now empty. There was only a tall execution platform, which cast a long shadow in the direction of the naval base under the bright moonlight. Smoker looked at the execution platform with drunken eyes and murmured, Bai Ye, what do you think Roger was thinking before he died? Bai Ye curled his lips and said, who knows what Roger was thinking? I'm not a worm in his stomach. 20 years ago, I saw with my own eyes the execution of Roger, the famous pirate king, here, and heard him talk about Oni Peace before he died. Everyone who heard the news went crazy and rushed out to sea to find Roger's treasure. It was from this time that the number of pirates on the sea skyrocketed, and vicious incidents emerged in an endless stream, allowing me to see the ugly appearance of people after losing restraint. At the same time, I also had the idea of joining the Navy to protect civilians, but after I joined the Navy, I found that the justice of the Navy was not exactly the justice I expected in my childhood. There is also unspeakable ugliness in the Navy. Some people even wear the skin of the Navy and do things that are more disgusting than pirates, but I can't stop it. So I was confused. After graduating from the Navy elite training camp, I took the initiative to apply to return to my hometown, Rogue Town. At the very least, I want to use my own ability to ensure that my hometown is not invaded by pirates. But pirates are endless. Kill one group today, kill one group tomorrow, and another group will come the day after tomorrow. I'm really tired of killing them. Listening to Smoker's words, Bai Ye had a complicated expression and couldn't help but sigh. Smoker was indeed drunk, and he really regarded himself as his friend, so he spoke his mind to himself. Over the years, he was really too tired. Bai Ye whispered, as long as the greed in people's hearts does not disappear, there will be a steady stream of people going out to sea to become pirates. There is nothing we can do about it. Smoker held his head with both hands and said distressedly, is there really no way to stop it? Of course there is. Smoker's eyes lit up, and he grabbed Bai Ye's arm excitedly. What's the way? Bai Ye uttered a few words, kill them all. As soon as the voice fell, Smoker suddenly felt a chill, as if the temperature had dropped several degrees out of thin air. The biting cold sobered up the drunk Smoker instantly, and he hesitated. Isn't this the method we are taking now? Bai Ye shook his head and said, it's different. The current means are too gentle. They don't kill those big pirates after they are caught, but actually lock them up and impel down. Smoker argued, but this is because if those big pirates are killed, the abilities of the devil fruits on them will turn into devil fruits again and appear on the sea. If they are picked up by other pirates, I'm afraid it will cause great losses again. It will be dangerous if they are picked up by other pirates, but what if our Navy finds it? Is it difficult to find devil fruits with the strength of our Navy? The Navy's current move is to throw the baby out with the bathwater. When they are worried that the enemy will become stronger, why don't they think about how to make themselves stronger? Bai Ye's words made Smoker fall into deep thought. What Bai Ye said was certainly good, but such a move is a double-edged sword. If it is not handled properly, it is easy to hurt yourself. If it is really picked up by pirates, so what? I can kill the previous user of the fruit, so I can naturally kill the next one. I want to see, if I keep killing like this, will those pirates dare to eat the devil fruit after picking it up? Although Bai Ye's voice was not loud, it sounded like thunder in Smoker's ears. Yes. How can you do things if you are always afraid of this and that? I can kill your previous one, so I can naturally kill your next one. If this devil fruit is found by the Navy first, it will further enhance the strength of the Navy. Smoker said excitedly, what else? What else is there? That is, the 4 pirate emperors of the new world cannot deal with it. As long as the 4 emperors exist, it is like setting an example for the pirates below and stimulating their desire to become pirates. Smoker said sadly, but the strength of the 4 emperors pirate groups is too strong. We can't deal with it at all. Bai Ye thought to himself, it's hard to say whether it's impossible to deal with it or it's not willing to deal with it. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 28. I have never heard of such a request in my life. Ding. Congratulations to the host for having a huge impact on the original character Smoker's apostrophe thoughts and reward world source power. 500 points. The system prompt sound that had not sounded for a long time sounded again. Is it okay to affect the mind? This is too abstract, right? Or is it that Smoker is a relatively important character in the original work, so just influencing the mind can gain world source power? Bai Ye's thinking is not without basis. If we follow the template of Garp and Roger, Smoker and Luffy are perfect replicas. In order to hunt down Luffy, Smoker didn't even want his hometown and went straight from the East China Sea to the New World. His official position was from the colonel of the branch to the vice admiral of the headquarters. And Luffy's bounty also increased from 30 million to 1.5 billion, and he was hailed as the 5th emperor of the New World. It's a pity that this 5th emperor is a false emperor, who was knocked back to his original form by Kaido. Of course, this is all later. However, if it is really possible to use this method to obtain world source power, Bai Ye can consider how to train his ventriloquism. Then I can just have a debate with a group of scholars and brainwash them mentally. Wouldn't that be a big profit? The next day, early in the morning, Bai Ye woke up and opened the data panel. Host, Bai Ye, template, One Punch Man, Saitama fusion. 10%, world source power. 515, special skill, Emperor engine, fusion 10% minus 11%, requires 400 world source power. It was a bit painful to increase the fusion a little, leaving only 115 world source power. And suddenly became a pauper again. But the effect is still very obvious. Bai Ye clearly felt that he was stronger. Before, I was thinking about exchanging characters from the store or opening a second level exchange store. Now it seems that it is completely a daydream. It is better to strengthen my own strength first before considering these. Bai Ye thought about it carefully. Now the only way to quickly obtain a large amount of world source power is probably to improve his own military rank. Bang bang bang. Suddenly there was a knock on the door. Smoker's voice rang out from outside the door. Bai Ye, are you awake? If you are, let's fight again. Maybe Bai Ye's words last night successfully stimulated Smoker, making Smoker realize his shortcomings. So he came to Bai Ye to fight early in the morning. Bai Ye opened the door and saw the somewhat excited Smoker and said helplessly, I don't want to fight with someone like you. It's a waste of time and energy. Bai Ye doesn't know how to use armament haki yet and doesn't have seasoned weapons. If he fights Smoker, he can only waste his physical strength. It's better to take a nap. Smoker naturally understood what Bai Ye meant and quickly patted his chest and promised, I promise not to use the power of the fruit during the battle. Bai Ye said suspiciously, no use of the power of the fruit? Yeah, I promise. Bai Ye looked at Smoker with disgust. You don't have any masochistic tendencies, do you? Smoker's face was full of black lines, and white smoke began to come out of his head with anger. Can you talk? What do you mean by masochistic tendencies? He simply wanted to train abilities other than the fruit. Bai Ye saw that Smoker was about to turn into gas due to anger, so he quickly agreed. If someone wants to be beaten, then beat him. After all, it's not him who will be hurt. On the training ground, the soldiers who were supposed to be training all gathered together and talked at once. I heard that Colonel Smoker is going to fight Bai Ye again. What's wrong with Colonel Smoker? He wants to fight, even though he can't win. That's right, he was beaten so badly by Bai Ye last time. Because of the mark on his abdomen, Colonel Smoker didn't unbutton his shirt for 3 days. I have followed Colonel Smoker for 3 years. This is the first time I saw Colonel Smoker button up his shirt. I was almost happy to death. The male soldier became happier and happier as he spoke, with unspeakable joy on his face. The others around him suddenly saw Smoker standing behind the soldier who was talking, and the murderous intent was almost written on his face. Everyone lowered their heads immediately, fearing that they would be spotted by Smoker, while the soldier who was speaking did not realize the danger was coming. Seeing that no one was laughing, he was a little surprised and said, why? Don't you think it's funny? Anyway, I think it's quite funny. I ate 2 more bowls of dinner that day because I was so happy. Smoker's grim words popped out from between his teeth. Mom, if it's really so funny, you should eat more dinner in the future. If you don't eat enough, don't even think about sleeping. Mom said miserably. Colonel Smoker, I was wrong. Sure enough, everyone likes to die. Mom is, and so is Smoker. One likes to talk nonsense, and the other likes to be beaten. Dashiki, lend me your knife. Oh, okay. Dashiki clumsily took Komura Shigeru from his waist and carefully put it in Bai Ye's hand. Because Smoker's weapon is specially made of seastone, the hardness is far beyond that of ordinary weapons. Zyoshiyu is one of the 50 good swords, and its hardness is not inferior to seastone, so Bai Ye borrowed the sword from Dashiki. Swish. The sound of the long sword rubbing against the scabbard is very pleasant. The blade is cool and the blade is too thin. The overall appearance is slightly delicate. It is a lady's sword. Smoker held the 10 hands and said in a deep voice, "Bai Ye, attack me." Bai Ye sighed. It was the first time he saw someone make such a cheap request. It seemed that he couldn't satisfy him. "Then you be careful." Bai Ye appeared in front of Smoker before he finished speaking, holding Zyakunshiu with one hand and slashing down heavily. Smoker couldn't dodge at all without using the power of the fruit, so he had to barely raise the 10 hands to parry. Bang! A huge force was transmitted from the 10 hands to Smoker's arm. The terrifying force made Smoker unable to parry, and the weapon flew out of his hand. Smoker's whole body seemed to be embedded in the ground, with only the upper body exposed, which was very miserable. Tashiji, who was watching the fight, rubbed his eyes and put on his glasses, only to find that the scene in front of him had not changed. Without using the power of his fruit, Colonel Smoker couldn't even take on Bai Ye's attack. It didn't seem so bad last time, did it? Smoker's head was dizzy, and he couldn't believe it. This guy's strength seems to have become stronger. His speed seems to have become faster, too. How is this possible? It's only been a few days. I can still remember the last time I got beaten. Is the gap between people really that big? Looking at Bai Ye's young face, and then looking at himself who was nearly 30 years old, Smoker suddenly wanted to burrow into the ground and never come out again. Chapter 29, Making a Fortune. Bai Ye squatted down and asked with a smile on his face, "Are you still going to fight?" Smoker said firmly, "Fight. Of course we have to fight." After Bai Ye left, where could he find someone as strong as Bai Ye in the East China Sea? It would be a loss if he didn't take this opportunity to fight a few more times. And after Bai Ye said those words to Smoker last night, Smoker felt that Bai Ye must be an extraordinary person. He is so young, but he has such strong strength. And in just a few days, his strength has improved a lot. He is gifted. The most important thing is that Bai Ye's words are very much to his liking, which made his originally dormant blood burn again. Thinking back to his childhood dreams, Smoker suddenly had an idea. "Bai Ye, what? Don't you want to be beaten? If you don't want to be beaten, then I'll go back to sleep." Bai Ye returned the knife to Tashiji and walked towards the dormitory. Smoker said in a heavy tone, "Bai Ye, can you end the Great Pirate Era? Can the Great Pirate Era be ended? How to end it? Killing all the pirates is the end? Even if the pirates are gone, there are still the celestial dragons. I can't predict the future. How can I know? I only know that if I become stronger now, I won't die at the hands of others in the future." Bai Ye looked at the embarrassed Smoker curiously. With his many years of experience in reading online articles, he roughly guessed Smoker's thoughts. "You want to follow me?" Smoker nodded. He really thought so. "Don't be funny. You are a colonel and I'm a lieutenant. There are 6 levels between us. But for you, isn't this just a matter of 1 or 2 years?" Bai Ye was speechless. "It seems that you know better than me when I can become a colonel." Bai Ye counted on his fingers and said, "Then there are still big problems between us. For example, you are 32 years old, and I'm only 18 years old this year. I have just become an adult, and I'm actually still a child." Smoker and Tashiji on the side were all frowning. If they could, they really wanted to kill Bai Ye. It was so annoying. After enough fun, Bai Ye stopped provoking the two and agreed to Smoker's request. It wouldn't cost him anything if he agreed to it. If Bai Ye was unhappy with the Navy and was treated unfairly in the future, he could just lead a large group of Navy to revolt and counterattack Marineford. That would be a beautiful scene. Ding. Congratulations to the host for gaining the following of the original character Smoker and reward World Source Power. 1500 points. Listening to the system prompt sound that suddenly sounded in his mind, Bai Ye looked at Smoker with anger in his eyes. 1500 points. I have never made such a windfall since I got the system. Although it has only been a short month since Bai Ye activated the system. But for Bai Ye now, this is also an unimaginable huge sum of money. If Smoker was a beautiful woman, Bai Ye would have wanted to hug him and kiss him a few times. Under Bai Ye's gaze, Smoker felt a chill inexplicably in his lower body in the soil. He wouldn't take advantage of my inability to move now and do something to me, right? In order to protect himself, Smoker said awkwardly, can you pull me out first? I can't move. Bai Ye looked at Smoker as if he was a fool. Aren't you a user of the smoke fruit? Can't you just turn into smoke and come out? Oh, yes, I almost forgot. I thought I still couldn't use the fruit ability. Seeing Smoker turn into smoke and come out, he looked very happy. Bai Ye held his forehead with his hand. He felt a headache now. He suddenly felt that the 1500 points of world source power were actually the system's fee for being a nanny for Smoker, because the system saw that there was something wrong with Smoker's cerebellum. Thinking about it, Bai Ye set his eyes on Tashiji, who was standing aside. Take care of Smoker. The system will give me 1500 points of world source power. Although Tashiji didn't have many roles in the original work, she looked like Zoro's childhood friend, so she should be very important. So take care of Tashiji. The system should also give me a lot of world source power, right? In fact, Bai Ye doesn't care even if he's missing. Who doesn't want to take care of a beautiful sister? Taking care of my sister is everyone's responsibility. Love does not matter how much world power there is. Bai Ye's awareness is so high. Being stared at by Bai Ye's scorching eyes, Dashiki froze all over. For a moment, she actually imagined all kinds of embarrassing plots in her mind, and her face turned red. For a moment, the atmosphere was a little ambiguous. Smoker noticed the appearance of the two, and felt like a 500 watt light bulb, which was very troublesome. After an unknown amount of time, Smoker couldn't help but say that, or I'll go first, and you guys can watch slowly. Under Bai Ye's gaze, Dashiki's face was red to the roots of her ears, and her chin couldn't be lowered any lower. There was no way. Her own strength would not allow her to lower it so much. Dashiki was shy and said nothing, while Bai Ye was wondering why the system did not prompt Dashiki to follow. To be honest, Dashiki is Smoker's adjutant, and Smoker has followed him, so why doesn't this count as Dashiki? Is there anything else I need to do? Bai Ye looked at Dashiki with a deeper look. There is something about this system. Seeing that the two ignored him, Smoker was afraid of disturbing the harmonious atmosphere between Bai Ye and Dashiki. At a loss, Smoker suddenly thought of Bai Ye's previous words. Yes, I'm the ability user of the smoke fruit. I can use the fruit ability. Smoker silently performed the elemental transformation, and the whole person turned into smoke, quietly leaving the playground with the breeze. When Bai Ye came to his senses, he looked around and saw that Smoker had already run away without a trace. Hey, where is Smoker? Ah. Dashiki suddenly heard Bai Ye's voice. Her face was red and blood was about to drip. She screamed and ran outside in a hurry. Because of being too panicked, Dashiki accidentally dropped her glasses. As a severely myopic Dashiki saw everything in front of her blurry, but she was not ashamed to turn back to pick up her glasses, so she could only run to the door relying on her memory. Hey, Dashiki, your glasses fell off. Bai Ye picked up the glasses and shouted, don't run. Stop now. Hearing Bai Ye's words, Dashiki ran faster, as if there was a hungry wolf chasing her from behind, and she ran forward regardless of anything. Bai Ye kindly reminded, there is a wall in front. Unfortunately, the reminder was a little late. Bang! Dashiki hit her head on the wall and fainted. Looking at the 3 dents on the wall, Bai Ye shook his head and sighed. TSK, poor wall. It suffered an unexpected disaster. I really don't know why this little girl ran so fast. Chapter 30 Huge Improvement. In Rogue Town, a week passed quickly. This morning, Smoker had informed Bai Ye that at noon, the ship of the Navy headquarters would arrive to pick them up. Through Smoker, Bai Ye learned that the elite training camp is usually held every 3 years, and the number of people in each session is about 500. The Navy headquarters itself occupies about 300 places, and the other 200 places are allocated by the forces. On average, the Navy of 1C occupies 50 places. The soldiers selected from the East China Sea Navy to participate in the elite training camp add up to less than 40 people. It did not even reach the average number, which shows that the strength of the East China Sea Navy is indeed generally poor. But there is no way who made the East China Sea pirates weak, so that the Navy soldiers did not have a relatively good growth. Now, coupled with Bai Ye's tossing in the East China Sea, well, before Luffy went to sea, the East China Sea Navy would probably be idle. At noon, Smoker brought all the people who participated in the elite training camp to the port to wait. Bai Ye said softly, "Smoker, you have to train well when I'm not around, and don't give up on your own abilities and fruit development. If your strength is still so poor after I graduate, then you should stay in Rogue Town and retire." Smoker nodded like a chicken eating rice and kept assuring, "Don't worry, I will definitely strengthen my training. And little Tashigi, you too." Hearing Bai Ye's address, Tashige's face turned red, and she said shyly, "I will, Lord Bai Ye." Then I'm relieved. While the three were talking, they saw a ship sailing on the sea. The sail was printed with a seagull holding a scale, symbolizing the maintenance of world peace and order, which was particularly conspicuous. But what was more conspicuous was that at the bow was a pug that looked a little funny holding a bone. This surprised Bai Ye a little. Didn't the Navy headquarters send someone to pick them up? Why would it be Garp? Shouldn't this old guy be chasing the red hair pirates? When the ship docked, Garp got off the ship, and Smoker was surprised. "Vice Admiral Garp, it turns out that you are the one who picked up the people this time." It turned out to be Smoker. Smoker graduated from the elite training camp, and he graduated first in his class. He was also well known in the Navy headquarters, so Garp naturally knew him. "Why are you still serving as a branch colonel in Rogue Town?" Garp asked puzzledly. "The strength of the East China Sea pirates is so weak, it's a complete waste of time for you to stay here." Garp's words revealed a bit of regret. After all, Smoker is a user of the smoke fruit ability. Even if it can't be compared with the fruits of the three admirals, it is still a stronger existence among the devil fruits. Instead of going to the New World to shine, stay in the East China Sea as a small colonel? No, after this time, I will let Sengoku transfer you to the New World. Facing Garp's words, Smoker could only smile bitterly and nod. Garp's few words completely changed Smoker's future path. No one would question the truth of Garp's words. As a naval hero, Garp has more say in the Navy than the Admiral, but he is usually too lazy to take care of things. Are these the Navy soldiers selected from the East China Sea? Garp looked at them one by one. Almost all the soldiers who were watched by Garp felt honored and adjusted to the best mental state. This is a living legend. Whether it is chasing the pirate King Roger, or joining forces with Sengoku to imprison the Golden Lion and the Impel Down, any one of them is enough to shock the whole sea. Such a legendary figure actually came to pick them up in person. How could they not be excited? Under Garp's gaze, Bai Ye was unmoved, but he felt a little guilty. He couldn't help but feel guilty. He was planning to kill someone's grandson a few days ago. Now that he has met the real owner, he naturally has to be low-key to avoid attracting Garp's attention. Garp praised, "Very good. You are indeed the elite of the East China Sea Navy. I hope that, after you arrive at the Navy headquarters, you will work hard to train and contribute to protecting the people." 37 Navy soldiers shouted, "For justice." Bai Ye followed suit and subconsciously wanted to shout for freedom, but fortunately he reacted quickly and changed his words in time, otherwise it would be a mess. "Okay, Smoker, we'll leave first. That old thing Sengoku treats me as free labor and arranges a lot of things for me. I'm really too busy." Cough cough, cough cough. Bogart on the side almost coughed out his lungs to remind Garp that there were other soldiers here. "What are you coughing for? It's good that I didn't scold him in front of the soldiers. Isn't it right to call him an old thing?" Bogart could only smile helplessly. "It's up to you, old man, to do whatever you like." The soldiers around were shocked when they heard Garp's words. "You called Marshal Sengoku an old thing, and this is not considered scolding? What would it be like if you really scolded him?" Smoker and Tashigi stood on the shore, watching Garp's warship go away. The two looked at each other and breathed a sigh of relief. Finally, that guy was sent away. Recalling the torture of these days, Smoker and Tashigi both regretted meeting Bai Ye. Smoker gritted his teeth and said, "This guy also said that I have a masochistic tendency. I think he has a sadistic tendency. Colonel Smoker, after Master Bai Ye graduates, do we really have to go find him? Smoker hesitated for a long time and said painfully, let's go, otherwise when he comes to find us, it will be the end. Bai Ye also missed Smoker and Tashigi on the ship. With this departure, there will be 2 less people who can brush the world source power. It's really painful. When he was still in Rogue Town, Bai Ye successfully attacked Tashigi and was rewarded with 1,400 points of world source power. Compared with Smoker, it was a little less, but it was enough. Bai Ye also figured out how to meet the conditions for following. In simple terms, it is to brainwash first, let others agree with your point of view, and think that what you say is right. Secondly, rely on your own personal charm to make others feel that only by following you can they realize their ideals. Only by achieving these 2 points can the requirements of following be met. Moreover, during these few days, Bai Ye also discovered another way to obtain world source power. As the strength of followers increases, he also receives a small amount of world source power as a reward. So these days, he has been training Smoker and Tashigi a lot. Although the amount given is not much, only 2 or 3 points, but even a small amount is meat. Smoker and Tashigi wanted to take a detour when they saw Bai Ye. Bai Ye opened the current attribute panel. Very strong. I'm very satisfied. Host, Bai Ye. Template, One Punch Man, Saitama Fusion. 17%, World Source Power. 3 Special Skill, Emperor Engine, Chapter 31 Camp Entry Test. Along the way, Byakuya witnessed Garp's cruelty. He always had 2 boxes of shells by his side, and when he saw a pirate ship during the voyage, he would use a fistbone meteorite. The power of the bombs thrown manually was stronger than the bombs fired by the main guns of the warships. With the level of pirates in the first half of the Grand Line, almost no one could survive a single shot from Garp. Seeing the pirate groups destroyed along the way, Byakuya felt so distressed. These were all the source of power of the world. He wanted to pick up the shells beside Garp and throw a few more himself. Unfortunately, Byakuya didn't dare to reveal his full strength now. Although Garp pretended to be carefree on the surface, he actually knew more than anyone else. Otherwise, how could he be so successful in the Navy when his son was the leader of the Revolutionary Army? If Garp's suspicion was aroused, and he linked Bai Ye to the strong man, who had a fierce confrontation with red hair a few days ago, Bai Ye would have trouble explaining it. When entering the Marine headquarters in Marineford, Bai Ye truly understood Garp's prestige in the Navy. The Marine headquarters is such a strict place that even the ships of the Vice Admiral of the headquarters will be stopped for inspection. But no soldier said they wanted to check Garp's ship, and they were allowed to pass without any obstruction. All the Navy who saw Garp, even the Vice Admiral of the headquarters, had to salute and respectfully call him Vice Admiral Garp. And Garp smiled and greeted everyone, looking amiable. Finally, they arrived at the destination, the elite training camp behind the Marine headquarters. We are finally here. This is where you need to stay for 3 years. Garp led Bai Ye and his party to a place similar to the Marine branch base. At the playground at the door, hundreds of soldiers had been waiting for a long time. All the young elite soldiers of the Four Seas Navy gathered here. Garp stood at the door and shouted, "Zeph, I've sent your student to you." A man with purple hair and a figure comparable to Garp walked out of the crowd. "Why is it you who picked him up?" "Don't mention it, it's all a bunch of shitty things that Sengoku arranged for me, and I still have things to deal with." Zephyr and Garp were in the same navy, and they had a very good relationship. They exchanged a few pleasantries. Zephyr took a quick glance and said, "Are these your soldiers from the East China Sea? Only these people have passed the selection?" Garp looked embarrassed. He was originally from the East China Sea. The East China Sea was his hometown, and he also felt a little close to the soldiers of the East China Sea. Now that Zephyr said this, he felt a little embarrassed. However, Garp's eyes turned, and he suddenly thought of something, and whispered to Zephyr, "Although we don't have many people in the East China Sea, there is a good seedling among us, called Bai Ye. I heard that Bai Ye defeated more than a dozen pirate groups in the East China Sea alone. It's worth training well." Garp still heard some rumors during his time in the East China Sea. However, through these days of observation, Garp did not find anything unusual about Bai Ye. He thought it might be a rumor, so he did not pay much attention to it. In his opinion, he could kill a whole ship of pirates in the East China Sea with just one finger. So what was so great about defeating the pirates in the East China Sea? It was only after Zephyr said that he remembered the existence of Bai Ye. However, if he knew that when Bai Ye defeated those pirate groups, although he did not exaggerate to use only one finger, he just casually punched them, he probably would not have such an idea. Zephyr listened to Garp's words, and then looked at Garp's unconfident expression, and knew that this Bai Ye was probably said by Garp on purpose. What single-handedly defeated more than a dozen pirate groups? If he really had this ability, why did he come to the Navy elite training camp? Playing house. It is estimated that this so-called pirate group is just a pirate group, where a few strong people go out to sea together. It is hard to say whether the bounty of the whole group is 1 million baileys. Any soldier from the Marine headquarters could do this for such a pirate group. What's so great about Bai Ye? However, Zephyr knew that Garp said this to save face. As a good brother, he did not expose Garp, but nodded with a smile. After sending Garp away, Zephyr's smile faded. All soldiers line up according to the sea area they came from. There are 5 teams in total, including the 4 seas and the Marine headquarters. At this glance, Bai Ye knew the gap between the East China Sea and the other seas. Needless to say, the Marine headquarters has more than 300 people, and it looks like a sea of black from top to bottom. Even the South China Sea, which is the second to last in strength, has more than 50 people. The East China Sea has only a pitiful 37 people, and the team is much shorter than the other teams. The soldiers on the East China Sea side all know Bai Ye's strength, so naturally let Bai Ye stand at the head of the team. Zephyr instructed the instructor beside him, since everyone is here, let's take them for the test first. Then he thought for a moment and said, let the soldiers from the East China Sea take the test last, so that they can understand how big the gap is between themselves and the other soldiers. Based on the test results of the East China Sea soldiers in previous years, the instructors could imagine that the East China Sea soldiers would dig into the ground in shame after seeing the results of other soldiers. It is estimated that they will not be able to exert their normal strength during the test. The instructor hesitated for a while and said reluctantly, isn't this too cruel? Zephyr said, this is just to let them recognize themselves in advance, so that they don't think that the pirates on the Grand Line are as weak as the East China Sea pirates. If we are not cruel to them, do you expect the pirates to show mercy to them after graduation? It's just embarrassing now, but it will cost lives in the future. Since his wife and children were killed by pirates, the idea of not killing Admiral Zephyr has completely changed. Nearly 600 people followed the instructor to the training hall. The entire space was extremely spacious, more than 10 meters high, and could accommodate all the soldiers. There are 5 testing machines lined up on one side of the hall, similar to punching machines. The target is made of special metal and is connected to a liquid crystal display. It is said that this was developed by scientist Vegapunk. Each of you will punch the target with all your strength in turn, and the display will show the strength of your punch. Let's start with the soldiers of the Navy headquarters. Several people from the East China Sea began to talk in a low voice, asking each other about their test results. Bai Ye, what was your test result? Test? What test? Why haven't I heard of any test? Didn't you take the test? Then how did you get selected? I killed a pirate with a bounty of 15 million, and then I was selected. Chapter 32. It is a duty to protect the glory of the East China Sea. Because Deo Lily will not appear in the later plot, the values here are only calculated in kilograms. Titus, 330 kilograms. Next. Harris, 364 kilograms. Next. Suddenly, there was a cry of surprise from the crowd. Quick. 532 kilograms. Not bad. 40 kilograms more than before. The instructor looked at the sturdy soldier in front of him and nodded with a smile. Oh my god, 532 kilograms. This is too strong. My 2 punches combined are not as high as his punch. As expected of a soldier selected by the Navy headquarters, this strength is strong. Soldiers from other seas exclaimed. Because there are 5 punching testers, the test speed is very fast. After a while, the soldiers of the Navy headquarters were tested. Next, it was the turn of the North Sea soldier, the strongest among the 4 seas, to be tested. Although the soldiers of the North Sea are not as strong as the soldiers of the Navy headquarters, they are generally pretty good. There are even a few excellent soldiers who are over 300 kilograms, and the others are basically around 270 to 280 kilograms. The overall strength of the West Sea and the South Sea is not much different, and the values are basically over 240 kilograms. Next, only the soldiers of the East Sea are left. Bai Ye is now thinking about how strong he should be for the test. Should he go the loser counter-attack flow or the top genius flow? After thinking about it, Bai Ye decided that it would be better to go the loser counter-attack flow. Think about it, a weak East Sea soldier, gradually becoming stronger from weak in the Navy elite training camp. How inspiring. Such a growth curve is softer and easier for others to accept. By then, there may be many Navy soldiers who will be moved by his experience and willing to follow him. As for the contempt of others, when he pretends to be weak, Bai Ye doesn't care at all. He has heard these words many times in the 3 years when he didn't activate the system. This is called pretending to be a pig to eat the tiger, making a fortune in silence. The other soldiers from the East China Sea saw that Bai Ye did not make a move, and the instructor had already started to urge him. So they hurried forward to take the test. Under the slightly teasing eyes of the other soldiers, the soldiers from the East China Sea took the test, as if they were going to the execution ground. Daniel took a few deep breaths, and managed to calm down his nervous mood. He punched the target with all his strength. 168 kilograms. Next one. The instructor sighed slightly. Compared with soldiers from other places, the gap between the soldiers from the East China Sea and soldiers from other places was indeed too big. 168 kilograms is not even as high as a female soldier like me. No way. Can such strength come to participate in the Navy training camp? Isn't the selection standard of the East China Sea too low? Understand, we come here because there are only so many places, and they come here because they only have so many people. Daniel was ashamed when he heard the words of the people around him. His strength was not limited to this. He was already 200 kilograms in the first selection. It was just that in such an occasion, he was too nervous and performed abnormally. 172 kilograms. Next. 200 kilograms. Next. As the test results came out one by one, the other soldiers' contempt grew louder. The soldiers who finished the test all stood there with their heads down, looking at Bai Ye from time to time. The soldiers who went up to take the test also looked at Bai Ye a few times before going up to take the test. Bai Ye was shocked by their reactions. Why are you all looking at me? You don't want me to shock the whole audience, do you? The reason why Bai Ye waited until the end to make a move was to observe everyone's average strength first. It is not a good thing to show your strength too low. It is more reliable to take a value in the middle. Bai Ye, Dong Hae can only rely on you. Show your true strength and earn back your face. We believe in you. With your strength, you will definitely blind their dog eyes. Faced with their trust, Bai Ye wanted to cry, but had no tears. What are you doing? I don't want to pretend to be cool. I just want to pretend to be a waste. Just when Bai Ye was struggling with his mind, the system prompt sound suddenly rang. Congratulations to the host for activating a random task, getting the first place in the camp entry test. Completing the task will earn you 200 points of world power. Oh my god, the system has spoken. I'm being ordered to show off in front of the world power. All the useless counterattacks and pretending to be a pig to eat the tiger are thrown behind. Just do it. Bai Ye looked at the expectant eyes of the crowd and said in a firm tone, don't worry, it is a duty to safeguard the glory of the East China Sea. The soldiers watching nearby also saw the East China Sea soldiers frequently looking at Bai Ye and couldn't help but guess. What do you think is going on in the East China Sea? Why are they always looking at the man in front? Is it because he is handsome? The female soldier said infatuatedly, he is indeed very handsome. A strong man next to him said jealously, what's the use of being handsome? Being handsome can't be eaten. Just look at his physique. It's hard for him to hit 150 kilograms. Soon it was Bai Ye's turn to play. When Bai Ye played, it was obvious that the momentum of the East China Sea soldiers had completely changed. No longer as depressed as before, everyone seemed to be looking forward to something. Even the instructors were confused by the contrast between the East China Sea soldiers before and after. Someone reasonably speculated, could it be that this person is the strongest among the East China Sea soldiers, so they are so looking forward to it? The companion retorted, what's the use of being the strongest in the East China Sea, with the numbers of us, who is not the strongest in the East China Sea? Quick on the side said impatiently, shut up. You will know after watching. Seeing Quick speaking, the others had to shut up and watch Bai Ye's performance quietly. At this time, Bai Ye on the stage was like a big star that everyone was paying attention to. Nearly 600 people stared at him intently. Bai Ye came to the test machine, feeling the hot eyes from behind, and murmured, since you want to pretend, then I will pretend to be big for you and scare you to death. Bai Ye clenched his right fist and aimed it at the target, slowly straightened it, and suddenly stopped when he was 2 centimeters away from the target. The thumb was placed on the middle finger, and the other 3 fingers were straightened. Everyone was confused by Bai Ye's behavior. What does this guy want to do? A brother with a clear mind said, is he going to hit the target and make his head pop? This big brother actually guessed it right. The middle finger suddenly popped out, and in the blink of an eye, there was even a deafening explosion. Bang! The target that had been tested by many people and was still unscathed suddenly dented like plasticine. The next moment, in front of everyone's expressions, as if they had seen a ghost, the entire test machine flew backwards dozens of meters under the terrifying force, and then hit the wall, leaving a deep hole. Oh, it seems that I used a little too much strength. Pretending to be cool is like the wind, always with me. Chapter 33, Capuchin does not deceive me. Everyone looked at Bai Ye, as if he were a monster. He knocked the punch tester so far away with one finger. Is this guy human? If this hit a person, it would be a bloody scene. Thinking about being a student of this kind for 3 years, a group of people couldn't help but feel desperate. They would be suppressed by him for 3 years without even a chance to turn things around. Especially Quick, who had performed the most outstandingly before. He thought he was the best student in this class, and in order to compete for the first place in the same period, he still had a trump card that he hadn't used. Now it seems that there is no need to use it at all. Go home, it's all over. Quick has already started thinking about whether to ask Zifa to drop out of school and wait until Bai Ye graduates to be selected for the elite training camp. There is no other way. As the first place in the same period of the Navy elite training camp, he will be equipped with a warship when he graduates. Generally, this is the treatment of a lieutenant general. Only a very small number of major generals can enjoy this special treatment. Most of the first place graduates will be awarded the rank of major general. So every student will fight hard for the first place in the same period. People like Smoker who didn't think clearly and took the initiative to apply to return to their hometown to become a colonel are special cases. The instructor looked at Bai Ye's figure leaving in a chic manner and felt amused. How should I record the results? Could it be a punch strength test machine? In the following tests, Bai Ye refreshed everyone's cognition again and again. Whether it was weightlifting, speed test, or other physical tests, Bai Ye's results were the best in the battalion, and he was far ahead of the second place. Finally, after the instructor recorded the results, he was in a daze. He even began to doubt himself. With my strength, am I really worthy of being Bai Ye's instructor? Why not let him be my instructor? After the test, everyone was numb. Even when the instructor announced the disbandment, everyone still looked stupid and turned a deaf ear. Even the soldiers in the East China Sea were no longer as excited as before. They only knew that Bai Ye was very strong and could defeat Colonel Smoker, but they didn't expect Bai Ye to be so strong. Moreover, Bai Ye is only 18 years old, while some of them are nearly 30 years old. Is this going to make people live? The instructor went to Zifa's office with the test results. This is Zifa's personal habit. After the entrance test is completed, a suitable training plan will be tailored according to the situation of each soldier. After all, everyone's starting point is different, and the method of joint training is not suitable for everyone. Zifa looked up and saw that the instructor's expression was a little wrong. After taking the report card, he asked casually, "Why is your expression so ugly? Is the result of this entrance test very bad?" Zifa opened the report card and read it from front to back. These are not bad. Wow, this quick is quite strong. We can focus on training him. After reading all the results except Dong Hae, Zephyr smiled. The strength of this class of students is not bad. After they graduate, they can provide a group of living forces for the Navy. As for Dong Hae's report card, Zephyr only read the first two, and lost interest in reading it. Zephyr shook his head and sighed. Alas, the Navy of the East China Sea has been getting worse and worse over the years. If it continues like this, we should really reduce the quota of the East China Sea. Chief Instructor, I suggest you wait and see. Maybe there will be an unexpected surprise for you. Zephyr looked puzzled. A surprise from the East China Sea. The instructor was looking forward to Zephyr's expression when he saw Bai Ye's results. Although Zephyr didn't understand what the instructor meant, he still looked down. With such a result, you can still surprise me? Until Zephyr turned to Bai Ye's report card, he stood up directly from the chair. All the test scores were first. Instructor Cook, can you explain to me what a fist force tester is? Cook told the situation exactly. 1. One finger bounced off. The fist force tester is a relatively rare instrument in the Navy, and its hardness is naturally beyond words. Even the Rear Admiral of the Navy can use the tester to test his own strength. But Bai Ye bounced off with just one finger. Zephyr suddenly thought of what Garp said to him before he left. Bai Ye had defeated more than a dozen pirate groups in the East China Sea alone. He thought Garp was bragging and wanted to save face. Or these dozen pirate groups were just second-rate pirates. But who could have thought that Bai Ye's strength would be so strong? Zephyr murmured, Garp is not lying to me. This kid is really playing house. Regarding Bai Ye's achievements, in killing more than a dozen pirate groups, Bai Ye did not let Smoker report it. Because the achievements of solving these pirates would at most make Bai Ye from a lieutenant to a lieutenant colonel, and at most a colonel. It was not even close to the edge of a brigadier general. And if Bai Ye came out with a first result in the same period, he could at least become a major. So Bai Ye didn't really care about those achievements, and just let Smoker handle it himself. Cook said in embarrassment, Chief Instructor Zephyr, I should take them to train tomorrow. But is Bai Ye really necessary to train? I feel like he can survive if he's thrown into the new world. Zephyr understood what Cook meant. It's funny to let a weak person train a strong person. Okay, I'll personally lead Bai Ye's training in the future, and you just need to take care of the other students. Cook couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief when he heard that. He was really afraid that he would make Bai Ye angry during the training. What if Bai Ye gave him a finger? He didn't think his bones were harder than a punching force tester. The next day, Bai Ye had learned that he didn't need to train with other students. He was not surprised at all. Geniuses would get special treatment there, no matter if the genius was cheating or not. A punching force tester costs 50 million baileys, and the cost of repairing the training room wall is 20 million baileys, a total of 70 million baileys. I hope you can pay this fee back soon. This was the first sentence Zephyr said when Bai Ye met Zephyr for the first time. Just this one sentence made Bai Ye want to drop out of school. What the hell is this training camp? It's a scam, right? You didn't tell me about this when you asked me to take the test. Bai Ye tried to explain. Instructor Zephyr, this doesn't make sense, does it? Zephyr looked at the slightly immature Bai Ye in front of him and smiled. In the training camp, what I say is the truth. Okay, you are awesome. I accept the money. When I finish learning what I need to learn, there will always be a time for you, old man, to cry. Chapter 34, Universal World Power. In the entire Navy, in terms of teaching level, Zephyr can be ranked in the top 2. If you don't count the former Admiral of the Navy and the current Commander-in-Chief of the 3 armed forces, Steel Bone Sora, Zephyr is the first. No one will question this. After all, the current 3 admirals of the Navy were taught by Zephyr, and at least 1/3 of the middle and senior cadres of the Navy have received Zephyr's teachings. But in the plot version, Zephyr is a tragic figure. He dedicated his life to the Navy, but was betrayed by the Navy, and finally died at the hands of his former apprentice Kizaru. It's a pity. The reason why Bai Ye is willing to come to the Navy elite training camp is also related to Zephyr's teaching level. He wants to learn the Navy 6 styles and 2-color haki from Zephyr. Counting the strong people in the pirate world, whether they are devil fruit ability users or not, their strength is related to their own strength. There is no one who has developed a strong fruit and has extremely weak physical fitness. This is especially true for the 4 pirate emperors, whose physical fitness is the same as that of monsters. And every time Bai Ye improves the degree of fusion, he strengthens his physical fitness, which is equivalent to laying a solid foundation. But he still needs a way to bring out this foundation perfectly. Teacher Saitama doesn't need it, because he is too strong. No matter what kind of enemy he is, he can't withstand a serious punch from him. But Bai Ye is not at this level yet. He has only integrated 17% of the template. According to the contact with various strong people in these days, Bai Ye has a general understanding of his own strength. He should be at the level of the top vice admiral of the navy, and can barely fight with the admiral. Such strength is naturally invincible in the East China Sea, but there are too many strong people in the New World. According to his personality, he might one day be in front of the 4 emperors. So in order to be able to happily wander in the New World, Bai Ye strives to drain Zephyr. Instructor Zephyr, what should I learn today? Start with the most basic Navy 6 styles. Today I will teach you one of the 6 styles, Moon Step. Zephyr looked at Bai Ye with unspeakable joy in his eyes. Strong people like Zephyr who do not rely on fruit abilities like Bai Ye, who has extremely strong physical fitness and no fruit abilities. This is simply the most perfect student in his mind. The 6 styles of the Navy are not something that is common in the Navy. Basically, only admirals can perform them, and not everyone can learn the 6 styles completely. Zephyr explained, the moon step is to step on the air with strong foot force, which generates strong air retention force. You can walk in the air like stepping on stairs, but you can't stay in the air for too long. But this is for ordinary people. As long as you have enough physical strength, you can stay in the air all the time. Of course, this is just talk. After all, no one has unlimited physical strength. As he said that, Zephyr personally performed the moon step and let Bai Ye learn carefully. Zephyr stretched out his foot and touched it in the air. It was as if he was stepping on a real object, and the whole person flew into the air directly. And he can move freely in the air, which is very flexible. What you need to pay attention to is the force of your footsteps. The force does not need to be too large or too small. It should be just enough to make you fly into the air. Zephyr demonstrated the moon step several times and then let Bai Ye try it. Bai Ye followed Zephyr's demonstration and stepped down in the air. The whole person was like a rocket, soaring into the sky. Clear footprints were printed on the ground. After a while, Bai Ye fell from the sky. Seeing Bai Ye's somewhat embarrassed appearance, Zephyr smiled but did not speak. Moon step is not something that can be learned by being stronger. It is a special way of exerting force and requires skills. Bai Ye calmed down, remembered the lesson from last time, and stepped down in the air again. Because he exerted too little force, nothing happened. Zephyr looked at Bai Ye's frustrated look and smiled. Don't be discouraged. Moon step is not that easy to learn. It's quite troublesome to learn at the beginning. Even when Garp and I first learned moon step, it took us nearly a month to get started. So there's nothing to worry about. Just as Bai Ye was thinking about the skills of moon step, the system prompt sound suddenly rang in his mind. Ding. Congratulations to the host for activating the skill moon step. Do you want to learn it? How could I not learn something that is delivered to my door? I will learn it decisively. Special skills, Emperor Engine, Moonstep LV1, plus, level 1 is the most basic level, which is what Zephyr said, is the state of just getting started. Bai Ye saw a plus sign after the skill, and tried it with doubt. Then he heard the system prompt, do you choose to use the world source power to improve the skill proficiency? Damn, can the world source power be played like this? Bai Ye thought that it would take at least half a year to fully practice the 6 styles. This is when he was more confident in his talent. But who would have thought that there is a system, the biggest cheat, to learn the 6 styles instantly, and even consider the proficiency for you. It's really considerate. Bai Ye tried to spend a little world source power. Moonstep skill proficiency increased by 10%. Current level LV1-10%. Suddenly, some skills about the moonstep appeared in his mind. Although there are not many, it also played a big role for Bai Ye who just got started. Bai Ye couldn't help but be overjoyed. The moon step is still of great use to him. After all, he is not a natural devil fruit user, so he cannot fly in the sky for a long time. The appearance of Moonstep has greatly enhanced both pursuit and flexibility. Look at Big Mom, the pirate emperor. Because she cannot fly, she was kicked off the waterfall many times after losing Prometheus. Even if she was not injured, the 4 emperors lost all their face. Bai Ye tried to improve the Moonstep to level 2, and it would take 2 points of world source power to improve the proficiency. After trying one by one, Bai Ye actually learned the Moonstep to level 4, spending a total of 150 points of world source power. Bai Ye felt that, although his attainments in Moonstep were not as good as Zephyr's, he was also outstanding among the vice admirals of the navy. Instructor Zephyr, do you see any problems with the Moonstep I'm performing now? Zephyr said with a smile. Okay, you can perform it with confidence. I will point out your shortcomings. Bai Ye stepped lightly on the void and soared into the sky like an arrow from a bow. Zephyr looked up at Bai Ye, who disappeared in the air, and couldn't help laughing. Young people are, huh. Zephyr realized something was wrong and looked back, and saw Bai Ye standing in the air, looking at him with a smile on his face. Zephyr almost popped his eyes out. How is this possible? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 35. My disciple Bai Ye has the potential to be a great general. Zephyr asked tentatively, have you mastered the Moonstep? Actually, there is no need to ask this question. Anyone with eyes can see that Bai Ye has mastered the Moonstep. But Zephyr still couldn't believe what he saw. 5 minutes ago, he was still comforting Bai Ye not to be discouraged, and used himself and Garp as an example to encourage Bai Ye. He said that it took the 2 of them a month to get started. But Bai Ye turned around and completely mastered the Moonstep and used it freely. Isn't this a slap in the face? Fortunately, no one else around heard it. Otherwise, if this matter got out, where would Zephyr's old face be? Ahem. Although you performed the Moonstep very well this time, there are still some minor flaws that need to be corrected. In order to maintain his face, Zephyr could only nitpick and pick out some minor flaws that were not important. Bai Ye did not expose Zephyr. After all, he had the traditional virtue of respecting the elderly and loving the young, and what Zephyr said was indeed correct. Zephyr saw that Bai Ye was not proud, but instead put on a look of listening attentively. It seems that he wrote down everything he said. Zephyr has a little more affection for Bai Ye. He has not eaten the devil fruit, has a good physical foundation, good talent, no pride, and respects teachers. Who can not like such a student as a teacher? Zephyr had the idea of accepting a disciple for a while. Although he has taught 3 admirals in his life, proving that his teaching ability is not weaker than his strength. But these 3 admirals are all natural fruit ability users, and their fruit abilities are also top notch. So there will be a small number of people who question that even without Zephyr's teaching, Akainu, Kizaru, and Aokiji can also become admirals. And the main reason is that he is a strong physical player, but he taught 3 natural fruit ability users. He has always felt regretful, and Bai Ye in front of him is the best person to make up for his regret. Zephyr did not hide the praise in his words. I really didn't expect your talent to be so strong. I want to be your teacher and pass on all my life's learning to you. What do you think? Zephyr wants to accept me as a disciple. Bai Ye was a little stunned. He really didn't expect this to happen. Although Zephyr is also teaching Bai Ye now, the 2 of them are only in the relationship of instructor and student. When Bai Ye graduates in 3 years, it will be difficult for the 2 to maintain their relationship. But becoming Zephyr's apprentice is different. Although the teacher-student relationship is not as good as the blood relationship, it is not much different. In this way, Bai Ye will be marked with Zephyr's mark. If Bai Ye does something out of the ordinary, it will easily implicate Zephyr. However, Bai Ye thought about it and decided to become Zephyr's apprentice. When watching anime before, Bai Ye had the idea that it was not worth it for Zephyr. Such a person should not die in that way. Bai Ye made up his mind. Since you are willing to teach me wholeheartedly, I will also try my best to prevent that from happening. Then, I want to become your apprentice. Can you spare me the 70 million baileys? Zephyr laughed. That's impossible. Rules are rules. TSK, what a stingy teacher. Hahaha, you are not generous. The two smiled at each other, and a warm feeling arose in each other's hearts. Congratulations to the host for becoming the apprentice of Black Arms Zephyr, and reward 1000 world power. Bai Ye didn't expect to have a double happiness, and the smile on his face became even bigger. In the next month, under Zephyr's full teaching, Bai Ye mastered all 6 styles of the Navy, and reached a very proficient level. Of course, this is also thanks to the system cheat, which allows Bai Ye to get started quickly. Bai Ye opened the current panel. Host, Bai Ye. Template, One Punch Man, Saitama Fusion. 17%, World Power. 602, Fusion 17% minus 18%, requires 800 World Power. Special Skills, Emperor Engine, Moonstep LV5, Full, Paper Drawing LV4, plus, Iron Block LV4, plus, Finger Gun LV4, plus, Storm Kick LV3, plus, Shaving LV5, full, except for Moonstep and Shaving. Bai Ye used World Power. The proficiency of the other 4 styles is basically obtained by Bai Ye through his own practice. An admiral is willing to be your sparring partner, and can always point out your shortcomings, and pass on your years of combat experience. This is even more powerful than carrying an old grandfather with you. Bai Ye only then experienced how great the benefits of being Zephyr's teacher were. Although there was no progress in the degree of integration and the physical fitness did not improve much, Bai Ye felt that with his current means and combat experience, he was enough to defeat the previous 2 selves. Zephyr was also very satisfied with Bai Ye's improvement in the past month, and even said directly, "My apprentice Bai Ye has the qualifications to be an admiral." He thanked Garp many times for sending Bai Ye to the elite training camp despite his demisite. Garp was depressed for several days because of this, so he asked Sengoku for a leave again. He said that he wanted to go home and educate his grandson Luffy well, and strive to make Luffy an admiral of the Navy. As for the means of education, it was naturally extremely cruel. It is estimated that Luffy will have to bear a big bag on his head during this period. From a deserted island not far from the headquarters of the Navy, deafening roars were heard from time to time. 2 figures kept crossing in the air, and from time to time, several slashing waves more than 10 meters long were slashed out. Under the interference of the aftermath of the battle between the two, the towering trees, that were originally dense and vigorous, fell down in pieces like harvested wheat. The beasts living in the forest fled frantically, as if there was an extremely terrifying existence in the depths of the jungle. A young voice came from the depths of the jungle. "Teacher Zephyr, your fists are not as strong as they were a month ago. That's because your skin has become thicker and more durable." Bai Ye and Zephyr stood facing each other hundreds of meters apart, and the next moment they appeared in front of each other at the same time, and punched with all their strength. Boom. An invisible airwave spread from the 2 people, and the trees that had fallen to the ground were swept up by the airwave, and the ground of the entire island dropped by 1 meter. The beasts living on the island were about to cry. If they didn't know how to build ships, they would have wanted to go to sea by themselves. Since the arrival of these 2 monsters a month ago, the island has been cleaned every 2 or 3 days, and the island has also sunk a lot. After a month, the originally dense forest was shaved off, and the island area was reduced by 1/10. If this continues, the island will be submerged by the sea sooner or later. This is just the teaching method chosen by Zephyr, in order to enable Bai Ye to better practice his domineering spirit. Nothing can make people improve faster than actual combat. Chapter 36. It's a pity that you are a Navy officer with your talent. Have you realized how to practice armament haki? I have a feeling, but I haven't gotten started yet. Bai Ye recalled the battle scene just now, and the feeling when fighting with Zephyr. Bai Ye has just started to practice haki, and can only continue to comprehend it by himself. Zephyr saw Bai Ye's thoughtful look, and couldn't help but smile. Don't put so much pressure on yourself. You can use the Navy 6 styles proficiently within a month, which is far beyond my expectations. But as a person who has been through it, I suggest that you practice the iron block and paper painting in the 6 styles to the limit first. Iron block is a weakened version of armament haki. When it is used, it can achieve a defense similar to the coverage of armament haki. The disadvantage is that it cannot move. and the paper painting is equivalent to a weakened version of observation haki. It can sense the upcoming attack, and the body will make corresponding changes according to the attack. The disadvantage is that the range is smaller. If you can practice these two styles, I guess you can comprehend armament haki and observation haki. Otherwise, why do they say that having an old man in the family is like having a treasure? If this kind of practice experience is not experienced by people personally, I'm afraid that no one can know that these two styles can help people master haki. Although Bai Ye was somewhat eager for haki, he was not impatient. He had only joined the marine training camp for about a month, so there was still a long time. Moreover, even Luffy spent 2 years practicing haki. So Bai Ye was very open-minded. Once he understood it, with the existence of a system and sufficient world source power, everything would be fine. Bai Ye smiled and said, "Teacher, don't worry. I know that sometimes you can't rush when it comes to practice." Zifa nodded and said, "That's good. By the way, today seems to be the first end of month assessment for the freshmen in the training camp. Do you want to go and take a look?" Zifa saw that Bai Ye had been practicing day and night for the past month, so he specifically brought up the assessment so that Bai Ye could have a day off. Bai Ye asked in confusion, "Assessment at the end of the month? Why didn't I receive a notice? Why did I notify you?" Zifa said unhappily, "I don't even bother to tell you. Do you think it's a great sense of accomplishment to bully those newcomers with your strength?" "I'm a newcomer too." "You're nothing newcomer, you are." Zifa thought about it, and Bai Ye was indeed a newcomer, and he was also the youngest among the soldiers who entered the camp. Others at this age are very strong. Basically they are ability users, and the devil fruits they eat are also very strong, so they can be invincible among their peers. The peak period of physical masters is generally in middle age, because their physiques are not that strong when they are young. Even Zifa and Garp were only slightly stronger than their peers when they were 18 years old. Only then did they enter a period of rapid growth. But Bai Ye was so fierce at the age of 18, which made Zifa really want to dissect this guy for a search. How could he be so strong at the age of 18? "Okay, I won't go. I won't go." Bai Ye was just about to say that he wouldn't go. He also knew that his strength in the past was completely a massacre, and it was meaningless. But halfway through his words, Bai Ye heard the system prompt sound in his mind. "Congratulations to the host for triggering the learning task. Get the first place in each month-end assessment, and be rewarded with 200 points of world source power." Again, Bai Ye listened to the prompt sound in his mind, and couldn't help complaining. "You might as well change your name to the academic bully system. Let me get the first place every time. Develop morally, intellectually, physically, aesthetically, and labor intensively. Strive to wear a little red flower on my chest, carry 5 bars on my shoulders, and become the captain among students." However, despite complaining, Bai Ye was still happy about the task triggered by the system. With Bai Ye's strength, these 200 points of world source power, aren't they given for free? And Bai Ye noticed that the system said every assessment, which means that Bai Ye can get 2,400 points of world source power from the assessment every year. This is a fixed income, and the working period is 3 years. Bai Ye has made up his mind. He will be angry with whoever makes him graduate from the elite training camp early. Bai Ye walked to Zifa and said, "Teacher, I must participate in the assessment at the end of the month. Give me a reason why you must participate. See if you can convince me." Zifa pouted. In Zifa's opinion, Bai Ye just wanted to show off his strong strength among his peers. Just like a child would show his favorite toys to other companions. It's all boring vanity. But looking at Bai Ye's still slightly childish face, Zifa couldn't help muttering in his heart, "This little monster is just a child in front of him." Bai Ye has already sorted out his words, and said earnestly, "Teacher, in fact, I'm taking the assessment this time not for myself, but also for you, for those students in the same period as me, and even more for the Navy." Bai Ye almost made Zifa stand unsteady on the spot when he opened his mouth. "Good guy, if you want to show off your strength, go ahead and show off. I don't intend to stop you. After all, you are still a child, and it is normal to want to show off. But now you are telling me so much, for me, For the students, and for the Navy, as if I'm the sinner of the Navy, if I stop you from taking the assessment. Zephyr said unhappily. Tell me what you think. Bai Ye said seriously. First, for the teacher. When I first entered the training camp, the teacher has been with me and teaching me. I have always kept this kindness in my heart. But they don't know how much my strength has changed in the past month under the teacher's teaching, so I must show my strength in front of them to prove your excellent teaching level. Zephyr's mouth twitched. You barely meet this one, next one. Second, for them, I do this, just to let them know how big the gap is between themselves and my peers, to set a goal for them, and to inspire them to work hard. Zephyr's mouth twitched. Go on. Third, for the Navy, you must know that those who can enter the elite training camp are elite soldiers in the Navy, and every death or injury is a huge loss to the Navy. And after they see my strength, they will have a clear understanding of the strong, and thus be in awe of the strong. In this way, after they graduate, they will not die in the hands of the strong, because of a momentary impulse. Zephyr found that he seemed to really know Bai Ye now, and couldn't help but say, Bai Ye, have you ever considered joining the world government as an official? I think it's a waste of your talent to be a Navy officer. Compared to your eloquence, your cultivation talent seems dull. Chapter 37, The Disaster of the New Soldiers. The assessment at the end of each month in the elite training camp is very important for the recruits. Because the results of each month-end assessment will be recorded, which is related to the score given when they graduate. The higher the score, the higher the position they can get when they graduate. Although there is a pervert like Bai Ye this year, there is no hope of getting the first place in the same period. But everyone still wants to compete for the second place in the same period. The assessment adopts a battle system. After all, when they graduate, they will have to face vicious pirates. And they entered the training camp to improve their strength faster. Before the game started, a recruit asked the instructor, Instructor, will Bai Ye come to participate in the month-end assessment? This question is not only what he wants to know. All the students participating in the assessment are very concerned about this issue. If Bai Ye participates, then if they are unlucky enough to be drawn to play against Bai Ye in the first round, then their results will be gone. The instructor was stunned for a moment, but based on his understanding of Chief Instructor Zephyr, he would not let Bai Ye participate, so he smiled at the recruits. Don't worry, Bai Ye will not participate in this assessment, and it will not affect your grades. Hearing the instructor's words, everyone breathed a sigh of relief, as long as that pervert is not coming. Quick was the first to say coldly, if Bai Ye is not here, I will definitely take the first place. In a month, Quick's body has become much stronger than before. You can imagine how hard he has worked in this month. The soldiers following Quick shouted and cheered. Come on, Boss Quick. The leader on the other side said lightly, Big Black Bear, isn't it too early for you to say that? The first place must be Boss Ferguson. Quick was not to be outdone and said, I will crush you, the big light bulb, today. Let you know who is the strongest in the freshman camp. The atmosphere on both sides became tense, as if a big battle was about to take place. During this month, the soldiers in the training camp gradually divided into 3 factions. The first one was naturally the Navy headquarters soldiers, which formed their own faction, led by the strongest Quick. The second one was organized by the North Sea, South Sea, and West Sea, and the strongest Ferguson was promoted from the middle as the leader. As for the last faction, it was naturally composed of the East Sea, and Bai Ye undoubtedly became the leader. Although even Bai Ye himself didn't know about this. Even though the East Sea faction had the fewest people and the weakest overall strength, because it had Bai Ye's backing, Quick and Ferguson would not take the initiative to provoke. And the people on the East Sea side naturally knew that they couldn't cause trouble for Bai Ye, so everyone lived in peace with each other for a month. Listening to the recruits shouting at each other, the instructors present not only did not stop them, but also showed a knowing smile on their faces. The instructors would not care about such healthy competition between recruits. After all, they were all young people with blood, and it was a good thing to have a little blood. Seeing that the time was almost up, Cook was ready to announce the official start of the assessment. I declare that the first end of month assessment will now. Wait, I will host this end of month assessment. Zephyr and Bai Ye suddenly appeared in front of everyone. Zephyr was finally persuaded by Bai Ye and agreed to let Bai Ye participate in the end of month assessment test. Of course, he did not believe Bai Ye's nonsense, but he saw that Bai Ye could even make up these outrageous, but somewhat reasonable nonsense, in order to participate in the end of month assessment. He was soft-hearted for a moment and let Bai Ye participate. Of course, this was also agreed after Bai Ye promised to pay attention to the degree in the test, and not to use heavy hands. Everyone stared at the two people who suddenly appeared in amazement. Chief Instructor Zephyr and Bai Ye. Cook asked with a stiff face. Chief Instructor, this is. Zephyr said lightly, isn't this the end of month assessment? So I brought Bai Ye here to participate in the assessment. Gulp. Hearing Zephyr's calm words, the more than 600 people present swallowed their saliva. This number Bai Ye is still coming to participate in the assessment? Quick and Ferguson, who were just on the verge of fighting for the first place, now have only endless desolation in their hearts. Nearly 600 pairs of aggrieved eyes looked at Instructor Cook. Didn't you just say that Bai Ye would not come to participate in the assessment? Why did he come now? We were excited for nothing for so long. Cook, who was stared at by so many eyes, couldn't stand it anymore, and asked with a sad face, Chief Instructor Zephyr, Bai Ye doesn't need to participate in the assessment with his strength. Before Zephyr could speak, Bai Ye raised his neck and asked, Instructor Cook, am I not a new recruit? Cook swore that he really wanted to say that you are a hammer new recruit. In addition to looking like a new recruit, what else do you look like a new recruit? But under the intimidation of Bai Ye's eyes, Cook could only admit his weakness and said, you are a new recruit. Then can I participate in the end of month assessment? Before he finished speaking, Bai Ye made a head smacking action in front of Cook. Although each one bounced in the air and did not cause any impact, but in Cook's eyes, each one of them was bounced on his forehead. Think about that miserable punching force tester again. This is a naked threat. Cook was about to cry, and his big watery eyes looked at Zephyr, as if to say, Chief Instructor, someone threatened your subordinates in front of you, and you didn't do anything about it? Zephyr looked up at the sky and said with emotion, oh, the weather is really good today, the sun is shining, it's a good day for the assessment. But when everyone looked up, they could only see dark clouds covering the sun, as if a disaster was about to fall. Oh, yes, there is no need to seem, isn't this disaster the white knight in front of us? Seeing that even Zephyr didn't care, Cook could only give in and said, yes. Bai Ye showed a happy look, if you can, that's good. Everyone showed a sad look. Is this life still for human beings? Even the chief instructor stands on Bai Ye's side, so the 3-year elite training camp can be renamed Bai. It's more in line with the truth to call it Bai Ye training camp directly. Bai Ye flashed and appeared on the test bench and said arrogantly, just now I heard you guys yelling loudly, wanting to beat this to death and crush that to death. Are you here to compete for the second place? Quick. Ferguson. Cook. Zephyr cursed in his heart. He knew that this kid was here to pretend to be B, and he didn't even hide it. So arrogant. When he goes out to sea in the future, he will be beaten to death sooner or later. But Zephyr changed his mind and thought that with Bai Ye's current strength, there are probably very few people who can beat him to death. In other words, as long as Bai Ye doesn't seek death, he can keep pretending. Zephyr began to be glad that he had retreated to the second line and didn't meet someone like Bai Ye when he was young. Chapter 38. I'm going to beat 600 of them. Seeing that no one said anything, Bai Ye did not change his arrogant attitude at all. Since you are too weak, I can give you a chance. You all come together. Hearing Bai Ye's arrogant words, the soldiers who had been keeping silent all raised their heads and looked at Bai Ye. One person wants to beat all the trainees? Such a shocking thing has never happened in the Navy elite training camp. Even Akainu, Kizaru, and Aokiji did not do such an exaggerated thing in their training camp. Even Zephyr couldn't believe it. He just thought that Bai Ye was just here to pretend to be a small one. Who knew that Bai Ye actually wanted to pretend to be a big one? Isn't this kid too crazy? However, with Zephyr's understanding of Bai Ye's strength, he still believed that Bai Ye had the ability to deal with these recruits. Everything is under control. As the leaders of the two largest factions among the soldiers, Quick and Ferguson looked at each other for a long time, as if considering the possibility of coming together. If a man and a woman looked at each other like this, the light in each other's eyes would melt the other. It was either love at first sight or they were two blind people. Seeing that everyone was silent, Bai Ye said again, "You are too useless, aren't you? You don't even dare to go up. How about this? Add the 10 instructors present, and you can attack together." Fuck, there is still something for us? Cook's eyes widened, and he began to rub his hands. This kid dared to threaten me just now. I didn't expect that I would have the opportunity to take revenge so soon. Seeing that some instructors were not very willing to take action, Cook hurriedly persuaded them. Even Bai Ye, a newcomer who has been in the camp for a month, dared to provoke our instructor group. If we don't teach him a lesson, wouldn't it be a disgrace to our instructor group? How can we teach new recruits in the future? Do you want others to say that our instructor group is afraid of newcomers who have just been in the camp for a month? It's true that Cook's words moved the instructors who were originally reluctant to take action, and they nodded one after another, indicating that they were willing to take action. Cook's words certainly contributed a lot to this result, but Bai Ye's arrogant look was also very attractive. Cook did not deliberately lower his voice when he spoke, so Bai Ye could hear it clearly. Cook saw Bai Ye showing him a brilliant smile, which was chilling, and made a gesture of flicking his head again. Damn, this kid dares to threaten me? Cook was shocked. It was not enough to persuade the entire instructor team. Cook wanted to drag Zephyr into the pirate ship to fight Bai Ye together, and even said that Bai Ye's move was a provocation to the Navy elite training camp, and Zephyr would be unreasonable if he did not take action. Zephyr had no doubt that if Cook continued to talk, Cook would even say that he would call back the 3 admirals who graduated from the training camp. Ahem. I will not participate in this matter. I'm only responsible for hosting this assessment. Zephyr hesitated again and again, but still refused. In fact, Zephyr was very tempted, and it was exciting to think about following so many people to fight Bai Ye. Looking at Bai Ye's arrogant look, Zephyr was furious. I was not so arrogant when I became a general. How can you, a new recruit, be so arrogant? How can I not fight? But Zephyr was afraid. Bai Ye was the most suitable disciple he had met in his more than 30 years of teaching. He had never seen anyone better and more outstanding than Bai Ye. What if he went up and was beaten away by Bai Ye? If he really ran away, he would not even have a place to cry. So he just watched this matter from the side and would never take action. Cook didn't say anything more when he saw that he couldn't persuade Zephyr, thinking that it should be enough for them to take action together. The instructor group, 10 instructors, 3 lieutenant generals of the headquarters, and 7 major generals of the headquarters. This lineup is enough to deal with the big pirates with a bounty of more than 1 billion. In addition, the elite navy drawn from various places, the strength is basically at the level of lieutenants, a total of 590 people. The strong ones can even be compared to the colonel of the headquarters, and the weak ones are also lieutenants of the headquarters. A total of 600 people. Bai Ye was going to challenge such an exaggerated lineup alone. Just when Bai Ye announced that he would challenge all the new recruits and the instructors, the news swept the entire Navy headquarters like a storm. They were not familiar with Bai Ye, but they had heard of this name. It is said that Chief Instructor Zephyr personally accepted him as a disciple, and when he accepted him, he said, "My disciple Bai Ye has the potential to be a general. If it is really that easy to become a general, then the general is not worthy of the top combat power of the Navy." Moreover, Bai Ye is not a user of the devil fruit, so everyone thought that this sentence was just said by Chief Instructor Zephyr. But unexpectedly, in just 1 month, Bai Ye actually challenged all the new recruits and the instructors. Along the way, people wearing school-level general uniforms could be seen running hurriedly towards the training camp. Vice Admiral Bastiu, what's going on? There's a good show going on in the training camp. Go and watch it. It'll be too late if you go too late. Colonel Mori, are you going to the training camp to watch the show too? Of course, if you hurry up you can still grab a good seat. In the office of the Admiral of the Navy, Sengoku finished his work and was about to take out a donut from the drawer to reward himself. He accidentally saw from the window that the vice admirals and major generals on the street were performing moon steps and shaving, moving quickly in the same direction. Sengoku was confused. If he hadn't heard the sound of fighting, He would have thought that pirates were going to attack the Navy headquarters. So he hurriedly asked the soldiers at the door. After learning about what Bai Ye had done, he was quite interested in it and hurried to the training camp. At the dock, Garp got off the ship with a depressed look on his face and happened to meet Aokiji, who had just completed his mission. Garp was Aokiji's old leader. Before becoming an admiral, Aokiji had always followed Garp and was simply Garp's little fan. So even though Aokiji is the admiral and Garp is the vice admiral, Aokiji is still quite respectful when facing Garp. Teacher Garp, are you unhappy during this vacation? Alas, let's not talk about these trivial things. Garp waved his hands impatiently, and his annoyance was evident. He was envious of Zephyr for being able to receive such a good apprentice, so he returned to Windmill Village on vacation, and prepared to teach his grandson Luffy how to become an excellent navy. But after a month, Luffy refused to be a navy, and insisted on going out to sea as a pirate, which made him almost hammer Luffy's brains out. Even so, Luffy still did not change his determination, which made Garp feel tired. In addition, the vacation time was up, so he could only rush back in frustration. Thinking of this, Garp couldn't help but scold the red-haired man who seduced the ignorant boy, Luffy. If it weren't for the red-haired boy who seduced his grandson every day, his grandson would have become an excellent navy long ago. Why did it give him such a headache? What Garp didn't know was that, just when he left the East China Sea, the Red Hair Pirates, one of the 4 Emperor's pirate groups, were resting on an island somewhere in the East China Sea. Ah, what's going on? Can I catch a cold with my physique? The red-haired man looked at his body and said narcissistically, I'm still very strong. It should be just an itchy nose. Giloo 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 giloo. The den mushy and the red-haired man's arms suddenly rang. Beckman, has that old man Garp left? He should have left. I saw his ship returning to the Grand Line. Okay, then let's go to Windmill Village to chat with Luffy. After hanging up the phone, the red-haired man said complacently, I have come to chat with Luffy all the time over the years, and even lost my left arm in front of Luffy for saving him. Do you really think that this left arm is given for free? You still want to persuade Luffy to join the Navy? What a naive old man. Garp and the red-haired man were like fighting a guerrilla war. When the enemy retreated, I advanced, and when the enemy advanced, I retreated. They fought in a very methodical way. Garp and Aokiji were preparing to return to the Navy headquarters to report on their work, but they found that most people were running towards the training camp. After stopping him and asking, he found out that Bai Ye was going to challenge all the new recruits and the instructors. Upon hearing the news, Garp was shocked and even more angry. Because Bai Ye was the one he gave to Zephyr himself, but who would have thought that Bai Ye, who had nothing but handsomeness at the time, would have such a high talent. So the two of them hurried to the training camp. Whether Bai Ye won or lost this challenge, the name of Bai Ye would undoubtedly be resounding throughout the Marine headquarters. Inside the training camp, when Zephyr was about to announce the start of the assessment, he saw the trainees who graduated from the training camp, wearing officer-level military uniforms, sitting in the seats they had sat in before. Zephyr, your apprentice is really making a lot of noise. Zengoku, you are here too. I just finished the things at hand, so I came to see. Sengoku looked at the people sitting on the sidelines and said helplessly, well, when I held a high-level meeting of the headquarters a few days ago, no one came so well. Sengoku just found a high place and sat down, and Garp and Aokiji appeared beside him. Garp, Aokiji, aren't you one on vacation and the other on a mission? Aokiji also respected Zephyr. Zephyr, Garp and I happened to meet at the port. I heard the news here, so I came here. Garp was very upset because of Luffy's matter and said carelessly, Zephyr, is that kid Bai Ye any good? So many of us came to see him. If he loses, wouldn't we have come here in vain? Hearing Garp's unhappy tone, Zephyr felt too comfortable and smiled. Garp, you have to have confidence in the people you brought from the East China Sea. You old thing, how dare you say that? If I hadn't brought Bai Ye from the East China Sea to you, would you have found such a good apprentice? That's because you are blind and didn't discover Bai Ye's talent. If you had discovered it, could you have given Bai Ye to me? The two old men in their 60s and 70s quarreled directly in front of everyone. Although Aokiji is a Navy admiral, the two people in front of him are obviously not qualified to mediate. Marshal Sengoku, don't you try to persuade them? Sengoku looked helpless. They were both old men who were about to die. Wouldn't it be embarrassing to quarrel in front of so many young people? Seeing that the two of them were quarreling more and more, the saliva they sprayed could wash each other's faces. Sengoku could only persuade them to reconcile. Okay, let the assessment start quickly. You are almost losing face for the older generation. After hearing Sengoku's words, the two stopped thinking about quarreling. At this time, the recruits and instructors in the training camp were already stunned. What the hell? What's going on? Isn't it just the end of month assessment of the Navy's elite training camp? There is one every month. Is it so exaggerated? Sengoku, the Navy Marshal. Garp, the Navy hero. Zephyr, the former Navy Admiral, the current Navy Chief Instructor. Aokiji, the current Navy Admiral. Look at the officers sitting obediently not far away. 7 Vice Admirals of the Navy Headquarters, 22 Rear Admirals of the Navy Headquarters, and nearly 100 Brigadier Generals and Colonels of the Headquarters. With such a lineup, it is enough to fight against 2 of the 4 Emperors. Now, it is just to watch their end of month assessment? Or is it just to watch Bai Ye's end of month assessment? Being watched by so many big figures is a pressure, but also a motivation. Whether it is the instructors or the recruits, they have undoubtedly strengthened their belief at this moment. This battle cannot be lost. Once lost, they will become a stepping stone for Bai Ye to become famous in the sea. When people mention this batch of students in the future, they will only know Bai Ye, and no one else will be remembered. Just like the students of the same period as the 3 admirals of the Navy, they are destined to be a foil. And the initiator of all this, Bai Ye, also did not expect that it would become such a situation now. Looking at the senior Navy officials sitting around, and then looking at the serious faces of the recruits and instructors, it is conceivable that this assessment is probably going to be a fight. Bai Ye sighed and thought to himself, I'm not a person who likes to pretend to be cool, and low-key is my motto. If I want to blame someone, I can only blame the system for forcing me to pretend to be cool, and even taking out the world source power to tempt me. Facing the temptation of the world source power, I have no choice. Alas, this damn system broke my low profile. If the system could speak, it would probably give Bai Ye a bath with spit. I assigned you the task of taking first place. Who the hell asked you to show off and challenge 600 people? Now you are still blaming me. You are really a piece of shit. Bai Ye took a deep breath and said, since I'm the only one fighting all of you, then this arena seems too small, and it is also in the way. How about we use the entire training ground as the arena? Bai Ye's proposal is equivalent to giving up a great advantage of himself. Originally, as long as he was kicked out of the arena, he would lose. But if he wanted to use the entire training ground as the arena, there would be no such thing. Although Zephyr didn't understand why Bai Ye wanted to do this, he still chose to believe his apprentice. Okay, let's use the training ground as the arena. Bai Ye said lightly, then we don't need this arena. As soon as the voice fell, the arena, which was 10 meters long and wide and 3 meters high, seemed to be suppressed by a terrifying force. The entire arena fell down and was pressed 3 meters into the ground until the surface of the arena was flush with the ground. The most terrifying thing is that the surface of the ring, which was subjected to such a huge force, is still as smooth as new, without any damage. Bai Ye stood in the center of the ring, looked around, and said loudly, come on, I want to fight 600. Chapter 39 to color domineering. Bai Ye pressed the ring into the ground intact, which meant that the battle that attracted the attention of many high-level officials had officially begun. Cook reminded, Bai Ye, why don't you choose a weapon that suits you? We are all equipped with weapons. If you don't have any, you will be at a disadvantage in fighting us. Bai Ye declined Cook's kindness. No, even if you take it, it will be difficult to use it. It is better to use fists and feet. Swords have no eyes. You have to be careful. After Cook finished speaking, he took the lead in attacking Bai Ye. The long sword in his hand made a clear and long sound, and a sharp half-moon shaped slash came rapidly towards Bai Ye. Bai Ye did not dodge or evade, and hit the several meter long slash with one punch. The slash instantly shattered like porcelain. Bai Ye looked at the faint white mark on his fist, but it was still not enough. He needed more, and more. Suddenly, Two strong winds came from behind, rushing straight to Bai Ye's ribs. The next moment, Bai Ye's body was as thin as a piece of paper, and he avoided the joint attack of the two instructors. He grabbed the arms of the two instructors with his backhand and threw them out with terrifying force. Bang, bang, bang. The bodies of the two instructors rushed through the crowd, like bowling, knocking down a group of students. There were many cries of pain. What are you still hesitating about? Do you really want me, who has just been in the camp for a month, to defeat you 600 people? Looking at the instructors and students who were still hesitating around him, Bai Ye said with a hint of sarcasm, if it was a pirate standing here, would you still be hesitant like this? Since you are unwilling to take action, then I will do it. Bai Ye rushed directly into the crowd, using his hands and feet. With the strength of these students, none of them could block his move. But in order not to hurt them, Bai Ye needed to carefully control his strength, which was also the promise he made to Zephyr. Just think of it as training for the control of strength. He punched the student in front of him, dodged the attack behind him, and kicked down an instructor with one foot. He was like a tiger into a flock of sheep, and there was almost no enemy. Watching Bai Ye killing all around, the senior Navy officers present were shocked by Bai Ye's performance. After learning that Bai Ye was going to fight 600 people, they already thought that Bai Ye was very strong. After all, if he wasn't strong, no madman would dare to say that he would fight 600 people. But they didn't expect the battle to be one-sided, let alone fighting 600 people. Just look at Bai Ye's posture. If there were another 600 people, he would be able to defeat them all. Except for a few vice admirals. They felt that something was wrong with this battle, but they couldn't tell why they felt that way. But the 4 people on the highest stand saw something from Bai Ye's performance. Garp frowned and asked, Zephyr, are you sure this kid has learned the Navy 6 styles? Bai Ye, who rushed into the crowd, did not use finger guns or storm kicks when attacking, and did not use shaving or moon steps when moving. He only used paper painting to avoid attacks, and if he couldn't avoid it, he would just use iron blocks to resist. This fighting method looks cool and powerful, but it is actually stupid. Zephyr knew that Bai Ye had learned all 6 styles of the Navy, and he knew that Bai Ye was going to do this in order to be able to surf the sea recklessly in the future. He practiced shaving and moon steps every day and kept muttering, if you can't win, just run away, and only those who are alive are qualified to fight. After a month, Zephyr felt that Bai Ye's mastery of shaving and moon steps was not worse than his own. But Bai Ye's performance now was just like he only knew 2 styles, iron block and paper painting. Looking at Bai Ye's determined face, Zephyr suddenly had a bold idea in his mind. Could it be that this kid was preparing? I didn't expect this kid to have such determination. No wonder he wanted to do this. Zephyr laughed and said, Garp, just keep your eyes open and watch. My apprentice will definitely win, and sooner or later he will become a Navy admiral. He believed that Bai Ye could succeed. Garp snorted and didn't reply. Zanji Yuo and King Zhi also noticed something was wrong, but they didn't think that Bai Ye really only knew these 2 moves in the past month. So they concluded that Bai Ye must have some plan in this battle. In less than a moment, Bai Ye had knocked down more than 300 people and 4 instructors. Because Bai Ye didn't use any ruthless hands, these people only temporarily lost their fighting ability and could continue to participate in the battle after a rest. This is also the disadvantage of Bai Ye setting the competition venue in the training ground. In addition to making the opponent admit defeat, the only way is to make the opponent lose the ability to fight. At this time, a safe zone has been cleared around Bai Ye. The instructors kept arranging the students to pull the injured students lying on the ground out to avoid trampling during the battle. Bai Ye took this opportunity to take a few deep breaths to calm his chest. Opening the system panel, Bai Ye mainly looked at the 2 skills of paper drawing and iron block. Paper drawing LV5, 10% plus, iron block LV5, 6% plus. From the improvement of these 2 skills, we can imagine how many hits Bai Ye has suffered and how many attacks he has dodged during this period. Just as Zephyr thought, Bai Ye was going to rely on this 1-on-600 battle to speed up the training of paper drawing and iron block. Although Bai Ye can also achieve his goal by relying on world source power is really too little. Save when you can. It is better to let everyone in the training camp work for him to help him hone his skills. It will be soon. I will knock down the rest of the people. It should be enough. Bai Ye thought silently in his heart. At this time, the people who fell to the ground around were also cleared out, and the battle was about to start again. Maybe the previous battle gave them enough warning, so next they were going to all obey the orders of an instructor, instead of fighting alone and being a mess like before. Quick and Ferguson, the two strongest freshmen, also held on until now, which surprised Bai Ye a little. Although he did not deliberately target anyone during the battle, he basically hit whoever was closest. But Bai Ye clearly remembered that Quick seemed to have been hit by him twice, and Ferguson was also hit by one punch. Like other students, if they were not unconscious on the spot after being hit by Bai Ye's punch, they were considered to have strong physiques and basically needed to rest on the sidelines for a while. However, these two were still able to participate in the battle after being attacked by Bai Ye. It seems that these two guys are still quite capable. Cook, who first attacked Bai Ye, also held on and became the commander of the next battle. The battle began, and under Cook's command, the battle became extremely methodical. The attack was no longer as random as before, and when attacking, they had to consider whether they would accidentally hurt their companions. But now, there was no need to consider so much. Everyone attacked in turn according to Cook's arrangement, and retreated directly if they missed a hit, leaving space for the next wave of attackers. Even if they were unfortunately hit by Bai Ye when they attacked, someone would drag them away at the first time. This caused a lot of trouble for Bai Ye. The attack was like a tide, and there was no chance to breathe. However, Bai Ye became more excited about such troubles. He originally wanted to rely on this training to break through his limits, and the more troubles like this, the better. As for whether he would lose, this was not within Bai Ye's consideration. He was now completely suppressing his own strength, and most of his strength was not brought out. And he did not use the other 4 styles. If he really used all his strength, now it is estimated that only a few instructors would be left standing. At worst, there is still the system. So it is impossible to lose. As time went by, seeing that the battle situation became more and more severe, Cook called Ferguson and Quick to his side. Ferguson, you will need to cooperate with Quick later. I and other instructors will create opportunities for you. You must seize them. I'm afraid this battle can't be won. This kid is like a monster, but we must at least make him hurt a little, otherwise the 600 people will have no face to stay in the Navy in the future. Quick and Ferguson nodded in agreement. They were completely defeated by Bai Ye. They had never seen someone as good at fighting and thick-skinned as Bai Ye. After fighting for so long and taking so many punches, Bai Ye still looks energetic. This kind of battle makes people feel a little desperate. Bai Ye looked at the skill progress bar from time to time, and he was already very happy when he saw the proficiency soaring. Paper drawing LV5, 95% plus. Iron block LV5, 95% plus. The proficiency of the 2 skills is on paragraph. Of course, this is also related to Bai Ye's own control. When the proficiency of paper drawing is high, he will not dodge and take more punches. When the proficiency of iron block is high, he will take fewer punches and dodge with all his strength. There are not many opportunities to brush proficiency like this. There is no danger to life, and you can also increase your reputation. It's a big profit. From time to time, the people who Bai Ye hit first recover their fighting power and join the battle again, forming a cycle. For Bai Ye, this is simply a perpetual motion machine for brushing proficiency. At this time, Cook and the few people he had discussed with looked at each other and felt that now was the best time to take action. Although they can let those students who have regained consciousness attack again, if they don't stop, they will eventually exhaust Bai Ye's physical strength. But if they really do this, they might as well just admit defeat. Cook rushed to the front with the only 2 remaining instructors, and Ferguson followed beside them, seemingly ready to attack together. Bai Ye also noticed this scene and said excitedly, "Great, I didn't expect Instructor Cook to take the initiative to come to me. I have wanted to punch you for a long time. Don't worry, this punch won't kill you. At most, it will make you lie in bed for half a month." Although Bai Ye is not a person who holds grudges, he is not very generous. Before, he saw Cook jumping up and down in order to beat him up. Not only did he persuade all the instructors, but he even wanted to pull Zephyr over. How could Bai Ye not treat instructor Cook, who cares for him so much, well? Just when several people came to Bai Ye and were about to take action, Cook shouted, "Close your eyes." Ferguson beside him was like a human sun, emitting a strong light, illuminating the entire training ground like a sea of light. The officers sitting on the sidelines were so hurt by the dazzling light that they covered their eyes with their hands and squinted their eyes to see something clearly. Even a strong man like Garp felt a little uncomfortable with such a dazzling light. Under the self-protection mechanism of his eyes gradually became moist. When Garp turned around to ask Zephyr what was going on, Garp was stunned by this look. Aokiji used his fruit ability to create two thin pieces of ice in front of his eyes, which directly reflected the light away. Sengoku's eyes were wrapped in a layer of golden light, and there was no obstruction at all. Seeing Garp's uncomfortable look, Sengoku smiled and said, "When I use my fruit ability to become a golden Buddha, the light is no worse than his." Garp was speechless. "Okay, you fruit users are awesome, so I'll go find Zephyr. Zephyr doesn't have fruit powers, so he must be as uncomfortable as I am." Garp just looked at Zephyr and saw Zephyr take out a pair of sunglasses from his arms and put them on with a calm expression. Garp was shocked and said angrily, "You, shameless." Zephyr laughed. "What's wrong with me? I already knew that Fergus is a superhuman light fruit user, so I specially brought a pair of sunglasses to watch the game. Hey, why is the Navy hero crying?" Garp's forehead was so angry that veins popped, but he couldn't stop the tears from falling from the corners of his eyes. As long as he opened his eyes, he would cry. "Give me a pair of sunglasses too. I only have this pair of sunglasses." Garp said angrily, "I don't care. If you don't give it to me, I'll take the one you have. At worst we can each wear one eye." Seeing that Garp really wanted to do it, Zephyr had no choice but to take out another pair of sunglasses from his arms and throw it to Garp. Zephyr said indignantly, "You are still a Navy hero? You are more like a Navy bandit." Garp took the sunglasses and put them on happily. He immediately felt much more comfortable in his eyes, and he didn't feel like crying. He didn't care about Zephyr's words at all. What's wrong with being a bandit? I still want to be a bandit. Looking at the scene of Bai Ye fighting, Garp even thought about snatching Bai Ye away and making him his apprentice. If he wasn't worried that he would make Zephyr angry to death, Garp would really dare to do it. The unexpectedly strong light caught Bai Ye off guard. Others were only exposed to the emitted light, but he was at the center of the light. In addition to the light, he also felt a heat, as if he was put into a furnace. When the light reaches a certain intensity, it will also emit terrifying heat. Bai Ye's eyes were stinging and uncomfortable, and he couldn't open his eyes at all. He didn't know what was going on around him. Subconsciously, he wanted to use shaving to leave the place, but he was stunned when he was about to use it. Isn't this the fighting environment he has always wanted? Under the strong light, he couldn't open his eyes, so he could only rely on his intuition to dodge. If he couldn't dodge, he would rely on his body to resist. It perfectly matched his idea. So Bai Ye chose not to leave, but stood there, quietly feeling everything around him, the airflow brushing over his body, the smell in the air, all of which could give him hints and become his eyes. Bai Ye couldn't see, and neither could Cook and the others. But after so long of observation, Cook was betting that Bai Ye wouldn't use the moon step and the shave to move away, so they only needed to attack towards the position of Bai Ye in their memory. He was right, Bai Ye really wouldn't dodge. The four of them attacked together, and Bai Ye felt that the sensitivity of other organs seemed to have improved when he couldn't see, feeling the subtle movement of the airflow in the air. It seems to be two on the left, one on the right, and one on the bottom. Bai Ye's body began to dodge the attackers he thought in his mind. The left side of his body suddenly became thinner, dodging two finger guns. The next moment, the right side of his body twisted to the left, dodging a punch, and his body formed a somewhat weird S shape. Cook used his memory to thrust a sword towards Bai Ye's abdomen. Bai Ye did not dodge this sword. When the sword was about to hit him, he waved his left hand and grabbed the sword. Bai Ye felt a force under his skin trying to get out. He kept trying, but he could not break through the limit of his skin. Bai Ye knew that this should be the armed color domineering. He could already sense it. When the sword was caught, Cook shouted, "Quick!" A shocking roar suddenly came from behind Bai Ye, roar, and Quick turned into a huge black bear, exuding a wild breath. The body was nearly 5 meters tall, and the limbs were as big as 3 people hugging. Long claws extended from the bear's paws, as sharp as a scimitar. The bear's paw, as big as a roof, covered the sky and the sun, and slapped towards Bai Ye's head. The strong wind even pressed cracks on the ground. This was the last attack arranged by Cook. After Bai Ye dodged their attacks, it was absolutely impossible for him to dodge Quick's attack again. Even if Bai Ye wanted to use the moon step to escape, Cook and his men would hold him tightly to prevent him from escaping. It can be said that if Bai Ye had not used the moon step to distance himself at the beginning, Quick's attack might not have hit him. Their hope of a comeback depended on Quick's attack. Quick also knew this, so he also tried his best and exerted all his strength. Is this your plan? It's really not bad. Unfortunately, my plan also met expectations. Bai Ye showed a faint smile at the corner of his mouth. Paper drawing LV5, full. Iron block LV5, full. Congratulations to the host for reaching the maximum level of skill. To trigger the extended skill, paper drawing will be changed to observation haki. Iron block will be changed to armament haki. Do you want to change? Of course, this is the purpose of Bai Ye's battle. Change completed. Observation haki LV1, plus, armament haki LV1, plus, it's finally done. This battle can finally end. Facing the palm with terrifying power, Bai Ye stretched out his right index finger, which was covered by armament haki, and suddenly turned black. This was the limit of what Bai Ye could do. The index finger seemed to point weakly at the center of the falling bear paw. The bear paw, which was like a meteorite, could not fall any further for a while, and was blocked by a finger. Zanji Yuo and others saw it clearly, and immediately slammed the table, and said in surprise, "Is this armament haki?" Zephyr was shocked, and a little happy. He really succeeded in comprehending haki. He is worthy of being my disciple. Chapter 40, Warring States Intentions. Impossible, how could this happen? Quick looked at the scene in front of him in disbelief. He knew his strength very well. If he exerted his full strength, he could tear a small warship to pieces. But now he was blocked by a finger. How could he believe this fact? And Cook and the other 2 instructors naturally recognized the armed color domineering displayed by Bai Ye. Combined with Bai Ye's previous actions, they also understood what was going on. Cook smiled bitterly and said, "Good boy, you actually used 600 of us to hone yourself. Young people nowadays are getting crazier and crazier. After all, we are old, and we can only retreat to the second line and teach students." Several instructors were full of emotion for a while, as if recalling their past, when they were young. And Quick still had a sense of not believing in evil. He waved his left palm with all his strength. The strong wind brought by the huge bear paw blew the surrounding soldiers so hard that they couldn't even stand up. Bai Ye smiled and said, "Come on, I don't have to let you go now." Before, he stood here and let them attack him in order to cultivate his dual color domineering aura. Now that his goal has been achieved, he naturally doesn't have to restrain himself anymore. Bai Ye suddenly disappeared in front of everyone, and the next moment he appeared above Quick's head. Such a big thing does look quite intimidating, but it's a pity that it can't scare me. Bai Ye tapped Quick's head lightly, and Quick, who was still roaring, fainted instantly. Quick, who lost consciousness, could not maintain his beast form, and returned to his human form, falling from the air. Bai Ye was about to attack, but he saw Ferguson jump up and catch Quick. It seems that the 2 of them have eliminated all their past grievances in today's battle. For men, there is no easier way to promote relationships than fighting side by side. Bai Ye thought shamelessly, "Hey, I accidentally did a good thing." Bai Ye stood in the air and winked at the people below. "Instructor Cook, do you want to continue fighting?" How could Cook not understand Bai Ye's meaning? If he continued to fight, this kid would no longer suppress himself. Forget it, forget it. I secretly threw several punches this time, so I should be content. But this matter cannot be thought about too much, otherwise after a battle, Bai Ye would not feel any pain, but instead he would use them to hone his 2-color domineering. They didn't gain any advantage, and they made a fool of themselves in front of many high-ranking naval officers. The more he thought about it, the angrier he got. Cook said, "No more fighting, we admit defeat." As their commander-in-chief, Cook could naturally represent their opinions. After hearing this, Bai Ye turned his head and looked at Zifa, shouting, "Teacher Zifa, make the announcement." Zifa was stunned and said stupidly, "What to announce? Didn't they admit defeat?" Bai Ye said helplessly, "Announce that I'm the first in the training camp assessment this month." Bai Ye had no choice. The system was stubborn and only recognized the first in the assessment. Even if they all admitted defeat, Zifa, who was in charge of the assessment, had to announce and confirm it. Otherwise, even if Bai Ye beat everyone present, it would not be considered as completing the task. Of course, he couldn't beat them. Just the 4 people on the viewing platform. Any one of them would be a headache for him. That's it? Zifa was dumbfounded. You beat them and made them admit defeat, so aren't you the first? Do you have to make me announce that you are the first? Do you have to pretend so thoroughly? Can't you be a little more low-key? Sanji Yuo laughed. Hahaha, this little guy is quite face conscious. Aokiji also smiled and shook his head. This little junior brother seemed to care about his face. And Garp looked thoughtful, and I don't know what he was thinking about. So Zifa announced awkwardly that the first place in this training camp assessment is Bai Ye. The high-ranking officer sitting around looked at Zifa's embarrassed face and then heard this and laughed one by one. Bai Ye didn't care about these. After Zifa's announcement, the voice of the system sounded in his mind. Congratulations to the host for completing the task and receiving a reward of 200 world source power. Okay, the plan is successfully completed. In the stands, Garp asked Sengoku for a vacation again with a serious face. Sengoku was anxious at the time. Didn't you just come back from vacation? Why do you want to take a vacation again? The situation on the sea now looks calm, but it is actually turbulent. And Sengoku just got the news that the Beast Pirates, one of the 4 Emperor's pirate groups, had frequent contacts with Doflamingo, one of the 7 warlords of the sea, Shinyashi. I thought that, if Garp came back, I would let Garp investigate, but who would have thought that this old man would take another vacation? Garp looked at the angry Sengoku, and was not moved at all. After watching Bai Ye's performance, he was very depressed. So Garp decided to go to the East China Sea for vacation this time, and he would not come back until he taught Luffy to be an excellent navy. Sengoku looked at Garp's look, which looked like he wanted to take a vacation, but you can't do anything to me. He could only shake his head helplessly. 1 month at most, and you don't have any vacation this year. Garp was overjoyed when he heard Sengoku speak, and smiled. Don't worry, 1 month is enough. If the red-haired man heard what Garp said, he would probably laugh his head off. Do you think that 2 months is enough to change Luffy's mind? I spent more than 10 years. Sengoku thought about the people in the Navy headquarters who were still suitable for the mission. Aokiji was definitely one of them, but Aokiji had just returned from a mission, and coupled with his lazy personality, he might not be suitable for this kind of investigation mission. As for the remaining vice admirals of the Navy headquarters, there were not many of them, and they had to stay in the Navy headquarters in case of emergency. The Major General of the headquarters may not be strong enough to deal with such a matter, and may not be able to calm the situation. Doflamingo is not an easy character to deal with. If it is not handled properly, there is a possibility that the 2 sides will fight. Where can I find a person with good strength, no affairs of his own, and who can handle things efficiently? While Sengoku was thinking, his eyes gradually fell on Bai Ye, who was not far away. Yes, isn't there such a person in front of him? His strength is not weak, comparable to the Vice Admiral of the Navy headquarters. He only practices in the training camp every day, and has no affairs. Moreover, Sengoku has read Bai Ye's files, and has a certain understanding of Bai Ye. He is decisive enough to handle things, and his methods are ruthless, which is very suitable for dealing with pirates. Although Bai Ye is very suitable for Sengoku to be the person in charge of this operation, there is still a problem. How to get people from Zifa. After all, this operation is still dangerous. And Bai Ye is just a new recruit who has only been trained for a month. Chapter 41 Early Graduation. Sanji Yuo hesitated again and again, but still did not tell Zifa about this idea. Bai Ye is indeed very suitable for this operation. There is no more suitable candidate than Bai Ye in the current Navy headquarters. However, Sanji Yuo gave up after considering the danger of this operation. Neither Doflamingo nor Kaido is easy to mess with, especially the latter. Let's look at Zefa's attitude towards Bai Ye. Although they are master and apprentice, anyone with a discerning eye can see that Zefa treats Bai Ye as his own son. Since Zefa's family was killed by pirates 30 years ago, Zefa chose to retreat bravely that year, gave up the position of Admiral of the Navy, and was willing to teach new recruits in the rear. Sanji Yuo and Zefa have been comrades in arms for many years. Sanji Yuo can only feel indescribable pain about Zefa's family. During the period of teaching new recruits, Zefa became more and more strict, and his attitude towards pirates changed from no killing to killing the wrong person. And the appearance of Bai Ye made Zefa smile more in this month than in previous years combined. If Bai Ye had any problems while on a mission, Sanji Yuo couldn't imagine how much of a blow it would be to Zefa. This was also Sanji Yuo's own selfishness. As for this matter, it's not urgent yet. Let's see who can spare the time to talk about it. Half a year later, two figures flashed in the air. Bai Ye's punch covered with armed color domineering directly knocked Zefa back several steps and said with some pride, "Teacher Zefa, why do I feel that you are getting weaker and weaker?" Zefa knew that Bai Ye wanted him to say that he was getting stronger and stronger, but he just didn't say anything and deliberately patted his chest and coughed, "Ahem. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm old, and my body and domineering aura are no longer at their peak. It's normal that my strength is getting weaker and weaker." Bai Ye came to Zefa. "Hey, how can the teacher be old? I feel that with the teacher's strength, it's more than enough to be the Admiral of the Navy again." Zefa rolled his eyes at Bai Ye. "According to what you said, you are stronger than the Admiral now?" "Hahaha, I'm just saying, if you ask Marshal Sanji Yuo to give me the position of Admiral, I don't mind." Bai Ye continued to be shameless. "Go to hell, Kit, I'll give you beauty and the position of Admiral." Zefa said unhappily, "Why don't you say you want to be the Admiral of the Navy?" "Teacher, can you ask for this for me?" Zefa was speechless. In the past 6 months, he has understood Bai Ye's character. This kind of shamelessness is just Bai Ye's daily life. However, in the past 6 months, Zefa is quite satisfied with Bai Ye's progress. Since Bai Ye comprehended that to color domineering, the frequency of their sparring has increased. From 2 to 3 times a week, it has become almost every day now. In just half a year, the results of Bai Ye's sparring with himself have gone from barely being able to fight, to being evenly matched, and now to being able to suppress himself. And he has also witnessed Bai Ye's growth in the past 6 months. He even feels that Bai Ye's current strength is not much worse than when he was a general. With Bai Ye's current strength, staying in the training camp will not greatly improve his strength. Just now talking about graduation, Zefa asked, "Bai Ye, have you ever considered graduating early?" "Graduate early? Teacher, are you really going to give me a general position?" Bai Ye said in surprise. Zefa's face instantly turned livid, and he knocked Bai Ye's head hard. "Are you daydreaming here? General, at most you can get a major general position." "Major general, I'll think about it." Hearing Bai Ye's slightly disdainful tone, Zefa suddenly felt a little amused. Rear Admiral of the Navy Headquarters, a rank that many Navy soldiers dream of. But when it was given to his own apprentice, he still had to think about it. If this news gets out, I'm afraid there will be many people who want to strangle Bai Ye. But Zefa didn't force Bai Ye. "Then go back and think about it tonight and give me an answer tomorrow morning." Back to his room. The room is very spacious and there are not many things. There is only a bed and a set of tables and chairs. Bai Ye lay on the bed, thinking about what Zefa told him about graduating early. In fact, Bai Ye himself knew that, if he wanted to make a significant improvement in his strength, the fastest way was to obtain world source power. The only way to obtain world source power in the training camp is to rely on the assessment at the end of each month. The world source power gained is really too little. Without using the world source power, you can only rely on time to slowly grind it. Open the current system panel. Host, Bai Ye. Template, One Punch Man, Saitama Fusion. 19%, World Power. 300, Fusion 19%. 20%, requires world power. 1000, special skills, Emperor Engine, Armament Haki LV6, plus observation haki LV5, plus the Navy 6 styles are fully practiced, so they are not counted, so as not to increase the word count. The highest level of haki is level 10. In the past 6 months, Bai Ye has won the first place in every assessment, and the total world power he has obtained is 1200 points. Bai Ye used all of them to improve the fusion degree, which is also the result of Bai Ye's training in the past 6 months. In fact, Bai Ye is a little tempted to graduate early. After all, life in the training camp is relatively boring. But if he chooses to graduate early, he will get 200 less world power every month, which will be 6000 world power in these 2.5 years. This makes Bai Ye reluctant to give up. Such a large amount of world power can be obtained just by staying in the training camp, which is simply free. Who doesn't like to get something for free? Just saying, please give me some money. After thinking about it, Bai Ye decided to ask the system, if I choose to graduate early, can I still get 200 world power points per month? If the host chooses to graduate early, the mission will be cancelled, and there will be no world power point reward, as expected by Bai Ye. If he graduates early, the mission will be gone. Just as Bai Ye was hesitating, the system voice sounded again. If the host chooses to graduate early, the early graduation reward can be activated, and 2000 world power points can be rewarded for each year of early graduation. 2000 points a year, that's 5000 points for 2.5 years. Although it's 1000 points less than staying in the training camp, Bai Ye can use these 2.5 years to earn more world power points outside. Bai Ye said happily, I didn't expect this system to be so humane. Do you choose to graduate early? Yes. Since you have chosen to graduate early, the next thing to face is what position you will be awarded when you graduate. In Bai Ye's opinion, at least it will not be lower than Major General. This is out of his confidence in himself and his confidence in Zephyr. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 42 Zephyr Goes Bad. The next day, Zephyr was still a little sad when he heard that Bai Ye was going to graduate early. After all, he had always treated Bai Ye as his own son in the past 6 months. Now that Bai Ye was leaving the training camp, he was really reluctant to let him go. However, before Bai Ye left, Zephyr was still ready to personally discuss the matter of Bai Ye's graduation with Zanjiuo. He wanted to get more benefits for Bai Ye, which was one of the few things he could do for Bai Ye. The office of the Admiral of the Navy. Zanjiuo looked at Zephyr in front of him, adjusted his glasses, and said with emotion, I didn't expect you to really let Bai Ye graduate. I thought you would at least let Bai Ye stay in the training camp for another year. Zephyr crossed his arms in front of his chest and said in a deep voice, with the development of the Great Pirate Era, the Navy is facing more and more troubles. With Bai Ye's strength, staying in the training camp is undoubtedly a waste of the Navy's strength. It is better to let him contribute to the Navy earlier. Zanjiuo looked at Zephyr with relief in his eyes. Look, this is the awareness of the old generation of the Navy. They know the difficulties of the Navy and take the initiative to stand up to share the worries of the Navy. If every Navy has such awareness, my hair would not turn white so quickly. Why don't some old Navy have this awareness? Yes, Zanjiuo is talking about Garp. Since half a year ago, Garp's plan to take leave, to return to the East China Sea to train his grandson, to become a Navy failed again. I don't know what the old thing Garp is crazy about, and he started to chase red hair around the world with Aokiji. He refused to listen to anyone's advice, and said, if I don't go back to the East Sea, you, red hair, can't go back either. When asked the reason, Garp didn't say. In this way, the Navy lost 2 top combat forces in disguise. If the other 3 Emperor-class pirate groups were not relatively safe, Sengoku would be worried to death. Now, Zephyr allowed Bai Ye to graduate early, which is a great thing for Sengoku. Although Sengoku is not sure how much Bai Ye has improved in the past 6 months, judging from the situation 6 months ago, Bai Ye's strength is at least that of a quasi-admiral. With such a quasi-strong combat force, Sengoku can also feel a lot more comfortable. Sengoku said, "Don't worry, Bai Ye will definitely get the treatment he deserves for graduating early this time." Zephyr said casually, "Well, I don't have any big requirements. Just give him the rank of Vice Admiral of the Navy, plus a warship built by the world's strongest giant triadam, and then equip him with 10 obedient Rear Admirals of the Navy headquarters." Huh. Sengoku widened his eyes, and his eyeballs almost burst his eyes. "Isn't this a small request? If you want something bigger, can I directly grant you the rank of Admiral of the Navy headquarters?" Zephyr ignored the rage of Zenji Yuo and said lightly, "If it's bigger, the rank of Admiral of the Navy is more appropriate." This is what Bai Ye taught Zephyr. According to Bai Ye, most people always like to reconcile and compromise. For example, if you say that the room is too dark and you need to open a window here, everyone will definitely not agree. But if you advocate removing the roof, they will come to reconcile and agree to open the window. Zephyr felt that it made sense, so he directly implemented Bai Ye's words to the end. Zenji Yuo gritted his teeth and said, "Zephyr, are you kidding me? No, this is Bai Ye's original words. If you don't agree, he will stay in the training camp for 3 years before graduating. Anyway, he is not in a hurry, and he can get along with other students in the training camp for a while. You don't know that when those students learned that Bai Ye was going to graduate early, they cried and said that they didn't want Bai Ye to leave. That scene was really tearful and sad. They all cried in front of me at that time." As he said that, Zephyr pretended to touch his eyes, but unfortunately there were no tears, otherwise he would have pretended more like it. Zenji Yuo was shocked. He didn't expect Zephyr to be so shameless. "Are you sure those students shed tears of reluctance, not tears of excitement? If Bai Ye is really so popular in the training camp, how did the remaining 590 students form an anti-Bai Ye alliance to resist Bai Ye's monthly beatings on them?" Zenji Yuo looked at Zephyr with a strange expression. This old guy has learned bad things. Zephyr was not like this before. What a simple old Navy Zephyr used to be. He never disobeyed the orders of his superiors, let alone bargained with them. Since he accepted Bai Ye as his apprentice, he could only laugh. Seeing that Zenji Yuo was still hesitating, Zephyr said directly, "Since you don't agree, I will let Bai Ye stay for another 2.5 years. I believe the trainees in the training camp must be very excited to hear this news." How could he not be excited? After being beaten for half a year, they thought Bai Ye had left and finally didn't have to be beaten. As a result, Bai Ye didn't leave and had to be beaten for another 2.5 years. If the beating continued and Bai Ye didn't leave, they all wanted to apply for early graduation. After that, Zephyr stood up and walked directly to the door without any nostalgia, and even didn't turn his head back. This is also what Bai Ye taught Zephyr. Don't give the other party time to hesitate, let the other party feel your determination. If Bai Ye was present, he would definitely praise Zephyr's performance. With this performance, in modern times, it would be unacceptable not to win a few little golden men. Seeing Zephyr walk so decisively, Zenji Yuo was also in a headache. Bai Ye's conditions were too high. He became a Vice Admiral of the Navy directly after graduating from the training camp. Such a thing has never happened since the establishment of the Navy. But now the Navy does lack combat power like Bai Ye. When Zephyr walked to the door, thinking that the method taught by Bai Ye didn't seem to work, Zenji Yuo finally spoke. "Zeph, come back and sit down first. You agree? Bai Ye's conditions are too outrageous. If you really agree, what will the other veteran vice admirals think? Then I'd better leave." Zenji Yuo pleaded, "Can we discuss it? The Navy really needs combat power like Bai Ye now." Hearing his old comrade speaking in a pleading tone, Zephyr couldn't help but soften his heart a little. "Then what do you say we should do?" Zenji Yuo pondered for a moment. "How about this? First grant Bai Ye the rank of Rear Admiral, but I can make a guarantee that, as long as Bai Ye makes some achievements within a year, I can promote him to Vice Admiral. It is impossible to build a warship entirely without him. There are not so many branches in the entire sea, but I can provide an Adam branch that can be used as a keel. When the time comes, let the kid find someone to build it himself. Finally, I can let Bai Ye choose any 3 people from the Navy below the level of Vice Admiral as his subordinates. This is my biggest concession. If it still doesn't work, you should let your kid stay for another 2.5 years. After Zenjiuo finished speaking, his eyes gradually became moist, as if there were tears, and he said in a deep voice, "The Navy is really too difficult." Seeing Zenjiuo about to cry, Zifa couldn't bear it and said, "Then let's do it. I'll go back and discuss it with Bai Ye." Zenjiuo reached out and wiped away the tears from the corners of his eyes. "Well, Zifa thanks you for your contribution to the Navy." Zifa nodded rather heavily. After Zifa left, Zenjiuo's expression instantly became happy, and he said complacently, "Fight with me? Do you really think it's so easy for me to be the Admiral of the Navy?" Chapter 43 Three Candidates. Zephyr told Bai Ye the whole conversation between him and Sengoku. He said earnestly, "The current situation of the Navy is indeed not good, and Sengoku is under great pressure. The conditions he offered are not bad. Why don't you just agree to it?" Bai Ye looked at Zephyr, who was persuading him, and couldn't help but sigh that Marshal Sengoku was really good at tactics. He directly turned Zephyr teacher against the enemy. In fact, in Bai Ye's opinion, the conditions he proposed were not too high. After the war on the top, Lixio and Green Bull, two people who were recruited from the world, were able to directly become admirals of the Navy. Although the current situation is far less tense than the war on the top, Bai Ye is still a legitimate Navy, and his teacher is the last admiral Zephyr. He himself has the strength comparable to that of an admiral. Bai Ye is kind-hearted to ask for a position of Vice Admiral of the Navy headquarters. Moreover, Sengoku directly cut Bai Ye's other two conditions by more than half. Bai Ye was very unhappy. It can be seen that Zephyr teacher is still persuading him earnestly. What else can Bai Ye say? Forget it, let's just leave it at that. At worst, I can find more things for Zenjiuo to do later to avenge today's revenge. Okay, teacher, you don't need to say more. Isn't it enough for me to agree? Really? Of course it's true. Teacher has said so much, what else can I say? Zephyr said with relief. In fact, it's very fast to be promoted to Vice Admiral in 1 year. By the way, Zenjiuo said that you can choose any 3 people below the level of Vice Admiral. Do you have a target? Zephyr has been teaching students for many years, and almost half of the middle and senior levels of the Navy graduated from the training camp. So in this regard, he can provide Bai Ye with a lot of suitable candidates. 3 people. Of course I have this. Bai Ye thought for a moment, and had an idea. The first candidate is Smoker. Zephyr is still clear about Smoker. He is a natural fruit ability user. He graduated 1 term earlier than Bai Ye, and graduated first in the same period. Zephyr is still quite sure about Smoker's strength. After all, he is a natural devil fruit ability user. Even if he is not strong in other aspects, his basic strength is here, and his starting point is high. But Zephyr still had his own concerns. I know Smoker, he has a rather unruly character. If you transfer him to your subordinate, with his character, he will definitely cause some trouble for you. Bai Ye smiled and said, "Teacher, don't worry about this. When I was in the East China Sea before, Smoker said that he would follow me after I graduated. So there will be nothing wrong with transferring him here." From Bai Ye's words, Zephyr heard a very important piece of information. When he was in the East China Sea, Smoker was willing to follow Bai Ye. At that time, Bai Ye was only a lieutenant, but he was able to make Smoker, a colonel, willing to follow. I'm afraid his apprentice is not simple at all. But Zephyr doesn't care about these. Even if Bai Ye is not simple, he is still his apprentice. This is his family, the more complicated the better. What about the other 2 people? For the other 2 people, I want to choose from the training camp. Quick and Ferguson are both good. This is also Bai Ye's well thought out choice. Instead of choosing those unfamiliar rear admirals, it is better to choose familiar, obedient, and easy to use people. After 6 months of beatings, Bai Ye has a better understanding of Quick and Ferguson. These 2 are the leaders of the anti-white organization in the training camp. They are the first to attack Bai Ye at every month-end assessment. The result is that they are beaten more and more severely by Bai Ye. And it is precisely because of these beatings that the strength of Quick and Ferguson has greatly improved in the past 6 months. They are even comparable to the weaker major generals of the headquarters. That's why Bai Ye chose them. Seeing that Bai Ye has his own considerations, Zephyr didn't say much. Just think it over. I'll have someone tell them the news so that they can prepare for graduation in advance. Bai Ye said with a smirk. I'll go and tell them the news myself. I'm sure they will be very excited when they know the news. Zifa looked at Bai Ye's smirk helplessly and felt in his heart that this kid is really bad. He is about to leave, but he still tortures others. In the student dormitory, more than a dozen backbones of the anti-white alliance gathered together around the long table, and Quick and Ferguson sat at the table. You all should know the news that the great Demon King graduated early, right? Such a big happy event. Of course we know. It is said that in order to help the great Demon King graduate, Chief Instructor Zifa went to see Marshals and GUO in person today. A group of people were discussing with a smile on their faces. The great Demon King was what they privately called Bai Ye. It must be said that it was very true. When the news that the great Demon King was going to graduate early came out, they were so excited that they couldn't sleep all night. The great Demon King left, and the dark clouds pressing on their heads were gone. For a while, the sky was blue, the air was fresh, the waist and legs didn't hurt anymore, and they didn't have to breathe heavily when going upstairs. This feeling of freedom was what they had dreamed of for the past 6 months. Just when everyone was excited, there was a knock at the door. Ferguson asked, "Who is it?" "The backbones of the anti-white alliance are all here, and no one should come." "It's me." Why did this voice sound so familiar? My heart suddenly trembled when I heard it, and when they heard this voice, their bodies subconsciously took a defensive posture. There is only one explanation for the sound that can cause them both physical and psychological fear. It's Bai Ye at the door. The anti-white alliance was having a meeting, but the real boss came to the door. Just when everyone was hesitating whether to open the door or not, the door opened by itself. Seeing Bai Ye standing at the door, he showed a gentle smile. The dozen backbones in the room seemed to have seen a ghost. They all huddled in the corner of the room, trembling, and dared not breathe. As leaders, Quick and Ferguson mustered up the courage to stand in front of everyone, gritted their teeth and asked, "Bai Ye, what are you doing here?" Bai Ye said casually, "I'm leaving, so I came to visit you." Bai Ye could be so kind. They would never believe it. What kind of visit? Don't you want to beat them up before leaving? Bai Ye took a step into the room, and they took a step back, watching the big brother closest to the wall with his eyes rolled back. For the safety of the big brother's life, Bai Ye did not go any further, and just found a chair to sit down. "Did you know that I'm going to graduate early?" Although they knew the news a long time ago, and were so excited that they didn't sleep all night, they could only lie in front of Bai Ye. "We just learned the news too. Congratulations, Bai Ye, for graduating early. Alas, I'm leaving now. I'm really reluctant to let you go. After all, we've been classmates for half a year, and have developed feelings for each other." Hearing this, Quick and the others almost rolled their eyes at Bai Ye. If they hadn't experienced the painful days of the past 6 months, they would have really believed Bai Ye's lies. But now they can only go along with Bai Ye's words. After all, Bai Ye hasn't left yet and can beat them up at any time. Ferguson said with a stiff face, "We are also reluctant to part with you." Quick also pretended to be uncomfortable and said, "If you really leave, it will be a spur for us. In the past 6 months, it is because of you that our strength has improved so fast. Yes, we will miss you after you leave. After all, you have helped us a lot." Listening to Quick and Ferguson's sincere words, more than a dozen backbones present almost wiped tears collectively. Look, what is a leader? What does it mean to be responsible? What does it mean to be able to bend and stretch? As the initiators, organizers, and leaders of the anti-Bai Ye alliance, the two who usually scold Bai Ye the most, today they can actually say such words against their will in front of Bai Ye. How great is this? Bai Ye smiled and said, "Do you really think so?" "Of course, although we don't say it usually, we all think so in our hearts. Yes, we often praise you in private, saying that you are strong and have won a lot of face for our training camp. Once a person breaks through his lower limit, everything will be so natural." Bai Ye smiled wickedly. "Then when I leave, will you miss me?" Quick and Ferguson became more and more familiar with each other. "Of course, you are my goal. If I hadn't graduated, I would definitely follow you." Hearing this, Bai Ye immediately stood up, scaring everyone back again. Quick and Ferguson turned pale, wondering what they had said wrong just now. Bai Ye said eagerly, "I've decided." Quick asked with a trembling heart, "What did you decide?" Bai Ye smiled and said, nothing. Marshals and GUO gave me the privilege to choose 3 Navy officers below the rank of Vice Admiral as my subordinates. Before, I was still hesitating about who to choose. After all, there are only 3 places, so I have to be cautious. Now after talking to you, I suddenly understand. Since you are so reluctant to part with me, I can't bear to part with you either. Why don't I use the places on you too? In the future, the 2 of you will follow me to travel the sea. Won't you be happy? What? Question mark? You can actually choose people, and choose the 2 of us? Thinking about following Bai Ye for the rest of their lives, Quick and Ferguson's lips turned pale, their eyes rolled up, and they fainted on the spot. The whole audience was silent. Bai Ye said with emotion, I didn't expect you to faint from excitement. It seems that the relationship between us is really deep. By the way, when they wake up, tell them to report to me in 3 days. If they don't come, you know what I will do. After Bai Ye left, more than a dozen backbones looked at the unconscious Quick and Ferguson with moist eyes. The leader is worthy of being a leader. They will be grateful for this wave of selflessness for the rest of their lives. Chapter 44. Sudden Enlightenment. The Great Swordsman. On the day of graduation, the awarding ceremony for Bai Ye, Quick and Ferguson was completed in the training camp. According to the normal graduation situation, if you want to graduate from the training camp, you need to take the graduation assessment. After passing the graduation assessment, combined with the results of each previous month-end assessment, the graduates will be awarded medals based on the final results. However, due to Bai Ye's special nature, the assessment link was cancelled, and Quick and Ferguson did not need to participate in the assessment. Because of the early graduation, it was not marshals and GUO who came to award the title, but Zifa did it instead. In fact, this can be regarded as a kindness of ZenGUO to Zifa. Zifa's biggest dream before was to be able to award his son the title in person, but the whole family died tragically at the hands of pirates. Now let Zifa award Bai Ye the title, which can be regarded as satisfying Zifa's dream for many years. When Zifa put the Navy Rear Admiral's cloak of justice on Bai Ye, he, who has always shown himself as a tough guy, gradually moistened his eyes. Teacher, I'm not leaving the training camp, and won't come back. Why are you so sad? Zifa patted Bai Ye's shoulder and said, isn't it because you are a worry? With your character of wandering around, it's easy to provoke enemies everywhere, and you will definitely suffer in the future. Bai Ye smiled. It's okay, teacher, you will support me when the time comes, and we will definitely be able to solve the enemy together. Zifa shook his head and smiled. You think too highly of your teacher. Then Zifa continued to confer titles on Quick and Ferguson. The 2 were awarded the rank of Lieutenant Colonel of the Navy Headquarters. Although the rank is not very high, it has far exceeded their expectations. Even if they stayed in the Navy training camp for 3 years before graduating, they could only get the rank of Colonel of the Headquarters at most. But now they have only been there for half a year, and have been awarded the rank of Lieutenant Colonel, which can be regarded as an exceptional promotion. This is also a small compensation from ZenGUO to comfort Bai Ye for not becoming a Lieutenant General of the Headquarters. Quick and Ferguson accepted the medals from Zifa with pale faces, and felt that nearly 600 pairs of eyes were looking at them, as if they were martyrs. There was an indescribable sadness in their hearts. 3 days later, at the dock of the Sabaody archipelago, 2 rows of naval soldiers with guns on their backs stood in neat rows at the dock, as if waiting for the arrival of some important person. Not far away, a naval rear admiral ship was slowly approaching the dock. Bai Ye leaned on the recliner, drank juice and asked boredly, Ferguson, how long will it take to get there? Ferguson said respectfully, report to Rear Admiral Bai Ye, it should be here in half an hour. Well, it will take so long, then I will sleep for a while, remember to call me when you arrive. After that, Bai Ye put the juice on the small table beside him, closed his eyes, and seemed to have really fallen asleep. 3 days ago, after Bai Ye was awarded the rank of Rear Admiral, he needed to guard one side like other Navy officers to prevent pirate cholera. Compared with the past major generals like Bai Ye who just graduated from the training camp are generally arranged in the first branch base of the forces, similar to the rogue town in the East China Sea. They all need to accumulate experience in the weaker forces first, and only after a certain period of time will they consider transferring to the branch base on the Grand Line. But because Bai Ye's strength is far superior to that of a normal major general, it is too wasteful to place him in the 4 seas. So Zenji set Bai Ye's garrison position in the Sabaody archipelago. This is closer to the Navy headquarters, making it convenient for Bai Ye and Zifa to meet. If something happens to Bai Ye, because of his lack of experience, they can also respond more quickly. It can be said that Zenji arrangement took both Zifa and Bai Ye into consideration, and Bai Ye also received the World Source Power Award for graduating early and being promoted to Major General. Congratulations to the host for graduating early. You will receive 1000 world power for every 6 months of early graduation. The early graduation time is 2.5 years, for a total of 5000 world power. Congratulations to the host for becoming a lieutenant and gaining 50 world power. Congratulations to the host for becoming a captain and gaining 100 world power. Congratulations to the host for becoming a major and gaining 500 world power. Congratulations to the host for becoming a colonel and gaining 1000 world power. Congratulations to the host for becoming a brigadier general and gaining 2000 world power. Congratulations to the host for becoming a major general and gaining 5000 world power. Open the system panel. Host, Bai Ye. Template, One Punch Man. Saitama, fusion degree. 19%, world power. 13,950 points. Fusion degree 19%, 20%, requires spending 1000 world power. Special skills, Emperor Engine, Armament Haki LV6, plus Observation Haki LV5, plus. This is the richest time for Bai Ye, since he got the system, but Bai Ye is not ready to spend it all now. After leaving the training camp, he has more free time and can start many plans. The so-called night organization may be able to show itself at the right time. However, Bai Ye still spent 1000 world source power to increase the fusion degree to 20%. According to the previous rules, every 10% increase in fusion degree will give you the opportunity to extract the special ability of an S-level hero. What Bai Ye wants to extract most is Tornado's telekinesis, which is not only very practical, but also a powerful tool for pretending to be cool. However, this is just a thought, and it depends on what the system will come up with. As a warm current flows into the body, the system voice sounds. Congratulations to the host for reaching a fusion degree of 20%, and you can randomly draw the special ability of a strong person in the world of One Punch Man. In Bai Ye's expectation, the system voice sounded again. Extraction completed. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the ability of the S-level hero Atomic Samurai. Swordsmanship. Swordsmanship? Bai Ye felt a little disappointed, but swordsmanship was okay for Bai Ye. Just like the Navy 6 styles, they can make better use of the body and launch powerful attacks. The most important thing is that it is more handsome to use a sword, which is more in line with Bai Ye's mind. Special skills, Emperor Engine, Armament Haki LV6, plus, Observation Haki LV5, plus, Swordsmanship LV9, plus, the maximum level of swordsmanship is also level 10, but Bai Ye didn't expect to reach level 9 right away. It is believed how high the attainments of Atomic Samurai and swordsmanship are. Bai Ye carefully comprehended the knowledge about swordsmanship in his mind, like a sponge greedily absorbing the surrounding moisture. With the help of the system, Bai Ye quickly understood the swordsmanship thoroughly, and understood the ultimate move of Atomic Samurai. I'm also a great swordsman. I have become one of the few swordsmanship masters in the sea. Bai Ye said shamelessly. TSK, this is really too easy. I became a great swordsman in the time of a nap. If you tell others about it, won't it make a lot of people angry? Since he is a great swordsman, he naturally needs a famous sword that matches his status. Chapter 45 Don Quixote Family. Just as Bai Ye closed his eyes and thought, Ferguson's voice rang in his ears. Major General Bai Ye, we have arrived at number 27 of the Sabaody archipelago. Bai Ye sat up from the recliner and quick-tied the cloak of justice behind Bai Ye very considerately. Let's go. Let me see how chaotic the Sabaody archipelago can be. According to Sengoku, Bai Ye's predecessor was a colonel of the headquarters. When he was arresting pirates, he was killed by pirates. And this place is less than half a day's journey from the headquarters of the Navy. At such a close distance, the colonel of the headquarters was killed in public, which is undoubtedly a serious provocation to the Navy. Afterwards, the Navy also pursued the pirate group that killed the colonel, but failed to catch up. So Sengoku transferred Bai Ye to this place. The Sabayodi archipelago is composed of 79 large trees. One tree is an island, and the ground is the root of the tree. From time to time, bubbles will emerge from the ground. Each tree has a number, and Bai Ye is responsible for guarding the islands 27, 28, and 29. This is what people call the lawless zone. Bai Ye felt the unusualness of the lawless zone as soon as he arrived. Looking around, there were all kinds of pirate ships, slave ships, merchant ships or private ships parked on the dock. Most of the people walking on the street were pirates and bounty hunters, and local residents accounted for less than half. The chaos was visible to the naked eye. The arrival of the rear admiral's ship attracted the attention of many people, and many pirates left quietly and avoided this place. After all, the rear admiral of the Navy headquarters is also a middle and high level officer of the Navy, not a person they can afford to provoke. Bai Ye led people off the ship and saw 2 rows of neatly lined naval soldiers. This was also the legacy left to him by the previous colonel. An officer in a major's uniform walked out from the soldiers. He was relatively burly, with a 4 or 5 centimeter long scar on his right cheek, which looked a bit hideous. Leslie looked at the overly young boy in front of him and asked, "Excuse me, are you Major General Bai Ye?" Bai Ye smiled and said, "Isn't the uniform of Major General of the Navy headquarters on me enough to prove my identity?" "This can indeed prove your identity." Leslie saluted Bai Ye and shouted, "Major Leslie of the headquarters and all the soldiers of the 7th Navy branch of the Sabayodi archipelago greet Major General Bai Ye." "Greetings Major General Bai Ye." The shouts of hundreds of people suddenly resounded throughout the dock, and even several nearby streets could hear them clearly. Some pirates who were closer to Bai Ye were shocked when they saw Bai Ye's appearance. "Is there such a young Major General of the Navy headquarters? This kid looks like he has just come of age, right?" Some people also felt disdain for this. To be able to become a Major General of the Navy at such a young age, it is probably the result of someone in his family helping him. He himself is probably a straw bag. Coming to such a place, I don't know how many days he can survive. Bai Ye didn't know what the people around him thought of him, and it didn't matter even if he knew. As the saying goes, a new official starts with 3 fires. Bai Ye must do something to make the fire burn brightly. Bai Ye led a group of people back to the branch base. It is called a base, but it is actually similar to Bai Ye's previous base on Ski Island. It is about the size of a football field, surrounded by a 20-meter high wall on all sides. There is a 3-story building in the middle, which is used as a place for them to handle affairs and rest. Bai Ye entered his own exclusive office, which is very spacious, but the decoration inside is also very simple, with only tables, chairs and filing cabinets. There is a bedroom on the side of the office, which can be used for rest. "Major Leslie, tell me about the current situation of the base." "Yes, there are still 137 soldiers in the base, 1 colonel and 5 lieutenants. Only this few people." Bai Ye frowned. "This number is really too small. Ordinary naval bases have at least 300 people. The number here is not even half of that." Major Leslie said with a dim look in his eyes. "More than 200 people died with Colonel Hall at the hands of pirates. We haven't recruited any more yet, so there are only so many people." Bai Ye asked curiously, "What kind of pirate group is this? I heard that the headquarters once sent a vice admiral to chase the pirates, but they failed." Hearing Bai Ye's question, Leslie's eyes suddenly turned red, and his fists clenched unconsciously, as if he wanted to say something, but didn't dare to say it. Bai Ye understood it instantly. "Wow, there must be a story. I didn't expect to encounter such a thing." As soon as I arrived, Bai Ye wanted to know the whole story. "What's going on? Just tell me." Seeing that Leslie was still unwilling to say, Bai Ye continued, "My teacher is Chief Instructor Zifa. If I can't handle it, I will consider telling Teacher Zifa." There was no way. Bai Ye saw that people didn't believe in him very much. He couldn't say that his strength was comparable to that of the Admiral, right? He could only bring up Teacher Zifa first. "Chief Instructor Zifa is your teacher?" Slally said in surprise. "Yes, so just tell me boldly." Hearing Bai Ye's words, Leslie did not doubt their authenticity. After all, such things can be known by asking the Navy headquarters. No Navy would tell such a lie. Leslie said slowly. In fact, Colonel Hall was not chasing pirates that day, but was conducting routine patrols on the island. Not chasing pirates? Well, Colonel Hall was patrolling the island with his soldiers that day, and he should have accidentally seen the Don Quixote family, one of the 7 warlords of the sea, conducting a secret transaction. Then all of them were killed by the Don Quixote family. How do you know it was the Don Quixote family who did it? Because I found this at the scene where Colonel Hall died. Slally took out a half palm-sized blood-stained cloth strip from his pocket, with the Don Quixote family emblem printed on it. It is different from the logo of other pirate groups, a round black smiley face with a slash from the upper right to the lower left in the middle. Very easy to identify. Leslie continued, the vice admiral sent by the headquarters later should have also found out about the Don Quixote family, but because of their identities as one of the 7 warlords of the sea recognized by the government. In order to avoid causing unnecessary confusion, the matter was left unresolved. Speaking of this, Leslie felt extremely painful. The pirates killed more than 200 of their naval soldiers, but they didn't even have the qualifications to take revenge. Not only that, they usually have to take a detour when they see people from the Don Quixote family to avoid a second conflict. This feeling of knowing who the murderer is, but being unable to do anything, and being able to only watch others show off in front of you makes people feel like they would rather die than live. Bai Ye sighed. The Navy is really rotten to the core. Chapter 46. Use me as a gun. For the Navy, the establishment of the 7 warlords of the sea system is a slap in the face by the government in front of the whole world. This move means that, because the Navy did not maintain peace in the sea well, the government recognized the 7 pirates as legal pirates, and the Navy could do nothing about it. Seeing the scum who killed his partners in the past, he turned into an officially recognized colleague. And in order to take care of the face of the world government, as long as the 7 warlords of the sea did not do too much, such as publicly slaughtering the country, killing the Navy, etc., the Navy would not cause trouble for the 7 warlords of the sea. Just like this time, Colonel Hall and more than 200 naval soldiers died together at the hands of the Don Quixote family. The Navy knew the murderer and even caught up with the murderer, but because of the murderer's identity, they had to give up. And because the murderer did not commit the crime in public, the Navy had to help cover up his behavior. Avoid causing turmoil in the sea. There is nothing more cowardly than this. Bai Ye doesn't believe that Sengoku didn't know about this. But if Zenjiuo knew about this matter, and he transferred Bai Ye to this position, it would be a bit intriguing. Bai Ye thought silently, this old man doesn't want to use me as a gun, right? Zanjiuo and others were dissatisfied with the 7 warlords system, but since they had promised to establish the 7 warlords before, it would be difficult to oppose it now, and cause the government's disgust. Although the other navy was dissatisfied, they were powerless, because they were not strong enough, and lacked a leader. But now Bai Ye happened to appear, a rear admiral with the strength of an admiral. If he had a strong conflict with the 7 warlords and even killed the 7 warlords, how would the government react? Moreover, Bai Ye's master Zephyr also had a very high reputation in the Navy. After all, 80% of the middle and senior levels in the Navy came from the training camp. If one Bai Ye was not enough, add the chief instructor Zephyr and some Navy who were already dissatisfied with the 7 warlords system. Such a formation is enough to make the government also need to be careful. TSK. It turns out that none of those who can become the admiral of the Navy are easy to deal with. Bai Ye is very sure of his guess. He estimated that he was the best candidate selected by Sengoku to eliminate the 7 warlords of the sea system. Although Bai Ye was used as a gun by Sengoku, Bai Ye was not dissatisfied at all, but felt that it was good. Before things reached the peak of the outbreak, no matter what kind of outrageous things Bai Ye did, Sengoku would naturally help him cover it up. Bai Ye still needs the identity of the Navy now. And as the leader of the elimination of the 7 warlords of the sea system, Bai Ye's prestige in the Navy is naturally quite high. This matter has pros and cons, and the choice is in Bai Ye's hands. Should he pretend not to know and turn a deaf ear to this matter, or start to make trouble for the Don Quixote family and become a pioneer in opposing the 7 warlords of the sea system? Bai Ye quickly made a decision in his mind. Bai Ye looked up at Leslie, who was full of expectation, and smiled. I will take care of this matter. I will avenge Colonel Hall and more than 200 other naval soldiers. Really? Leslie's eyes were red, and he said happily, don't you need to notify Chief Instructor Zephyr? Bai Ye knew that Leslie didn't believe that he, a major general, was qualified to take care of the affairs of the 7 warlords of the sea. However, Bai Ye did not defend himself, but explained, I will report to Teacher Zephyr after I have thoroughly investigated this matter, so you can rest assured. Leslie did not doubt Bai Ye's words, bent down and bowed to Bai Ye, saying, Leslie thanks you on behalf of Colonel Hall. The next day, a naval rear admiral ship arrived at number 27 of the Sabayodi archipelago again. Although there were no naval soldiers to greet it at the dock this time, it still attracted the attention of many pirates. The major admirals of the Navy headquarters are not cabbages that can be seen everywhere. In the first half of the Grand Line, only the more important islands will be guarded by major admirals of the Navy headquarters. It is indeed too abnormal to have 2 major admirals of the Navy headquarters in this place in 2 days. Major General Smoker, is Lord Bai Ye here? Smoker, holding a cigar, looked solemnly at the naval base not far away, his eyes full of vicissitudes. Yeah, I didn't expect Bai Ye to graduate so soon. Tashaji's tone was a bit sad. How could it be so soon? Half a year ago, after Bai Ye entered the training camp, Garp did transfer Smoker from Rogue Town to the Grand Line, letting him guard a more important island. And Smoker dealt with a lot of pirates in the past 6 months, and his rank was promoted from colonel to major general. He even got the name of Smoker on the sea, and many pirates had to take a detour when they met him, for fear of being targeted by him. But just a week ago, he received a call saying that Bai Ye graduated and used privileges to select him. After hanging up the phone, Smoker didn't know whether to cry or laugh. Following Bai Ye was his own choice, and he didn't regret it. But isn't this too fast? It's only been half a year, and he has to be tortured by Bai Ye again. Let's go. If we go too late, we'll be doomed. Smoker took a deep breath and walked off the ship step by step, as if he was going to die. Tashaji also hugged Zyoshiyu tightly in her arms, lowered her head, and followed Smoker off the ship. The pirates around were scared to death when they saw the people coming down. A pirate cursed in a low voice, fuck, why is it Smoker who came? You said he is the user of the smoke fruit, Rear Admiral Smoker? Who else could it be if not him? Why would he come to this place? The pirates from several pirate groups had different expressions. A pirate looked at Tashaji behind Smoker and said greedily, the chick following Smoker is pretty hot. A pirate on the side glanced coldly at the person who spoke, that woman is a swordsman. She may have killed more pirates than you have seen. If you want to die, you can try to see whether her sword is harder or your neck is harder. The pirate with lustful thoughts felt a chill on his neck, as if a knife was really on his neck. A younger rear admiral came a few days ago, and today even Smoker is here. It seems that something is going to happen in the Sabayodi archipelago. Some more alert pirates have already started to prepare to leave Sabayodi. The pirate groups that think they are strong are fearless. After all, there are no restrictions in the lawless zone. Even the Navy dare not arrest pirates in the lawless zone. This has been an unwritten rule for many years. As long as this rule does not change, they don't care about other things at all. Chapter 47. Collecting protection fees from today. In Bai Ye's office, when Bai Ye saw Smoker and Tashaji, there was indescribable joy in his eyes. It was not for anything else, but because he had 2 more people who could provide world source power stably. Even if the average world source power provided every day was only 1 or 2 points. But this was enough for Bai Ye. It was better than nothing. Leslie looked at Bai Ye and Smoker in surprise. He didn't expect that the 2 of them were both rear admirals of the Navy, and Smoker was transferred here to become Bai Ye's subordinate. He had heard of the name Smoker. After all, he was a natural devil fruit ability user. At that time, he was a famous figure in the entire Navy. But such a person actually became the subordinate of Rear Admiral Bai Ye. It seems that Chief Instructor Zephyr really likes Rear Admiral Bai Ye as his apprentice. That's right, Leslie still believes that Bai Ye can become a Rear Admiral of the Navy, mostly because of Chief Instructor Zephyr. And after seeing how Bai Ye treated Smoker, Quick and Ferguson felt that Bai Ye was really good to them. What were they like in the training camp? They were beaten only once a month. And what about Smoker and Tashiji? Bai Ye wanted to beat them from early morning to the next morning. This is really no right to speak without comparison. Now when they look at Bai Ye, they all think that Bai Ye is much more pleasing to the eye than before. At the beginning, Zanji Yuo promised Bai Ye 3 conditions, and now 2 of them have been met. Ferguson, when will the Adam branch that can be used as the keel arrive? Will that old guy Zanji Yuo not give it to you? After learning that he was used as a gun by Zanji Yuo, Bai Ye's attitude towards Zanji Yuo became more and more casual. Hearing this, everyone subconsciously wiped a cold sweat. In the Navy, the only ones who dared to call him that were probably Bai Ye and Garp. Ferguson said, I have asked, it should arrive in a week. Although the rear admiral ship of the Navy is also okay, with Seaston placed on the bottom, to avoid attacks from Sea Kings while sailing. But it is still much worse than the ship built with branches of the treasure tree Adam. Since you want to build a ship, build the best one. 1 more week? Bai Ye pondered. Leslie, how much money does our branch have left? Leslie was also quite familiar with the branch management business, and answered Bai Ye's question without hesitation. Only 3 million baileys are left. 3 million baileys? How come there is only so little left? A dignified naval branch base only has 3 million baileys left, which is not even as much as the bounty on the slightly larger pirates in the East China Sea. Leslie explained, there were more than 80 million baileys before, but that incident happened, so almost all the money in the base was used as pensions. Everyone understood at once. No wonder there was only so little money left. Then didn't the higher-ups allocate more funds to you? It should be allocated, but the specific amount has not been discussed yet, and I don't know when the money will arrive. Lack of money. Very short of money. Bai Ye needs money to build ships and buy famous swords, but there are only 3 million baileys left in the base, which is not enough. The money he had robbed from killing pirates in the East China Sea was all used by his stingy teacher to buy equipment and repair walls. There was less than 5 million baileys left in the system space. The Navy's salary was paid once a year, and there were still 4 months to the end of the year. It was obviously unreliable to wait for the salary to be paid then. If Bai Ye hadn't been wearing the uniform of a rear admiral, he would have wanted to go out and rob. No wonder so many people go out to sea as pirates. It is too slow to make money by normal methods. Suddenly, Bai Ye's eyes flashed, and a bold idea emerged in his mind. Yes, I'm in the Navy. I can charge reasonably. The 3 small islands under Bai Ye's jurisdiction are all lawless areas, and none of the people living here are clean. According to Bai Ye, even if you kill all the people on the 3 islands, the rate of manslaughter will not reach 1%. Leslie, tell all the merchants on these 3 islands that every one of them has to give me 10% of their profits every month. Ah. Leslie was dumbfounded. Isn't this collecting protection money? Bai Ye admitted with a smile. I'm collecting protection money, and you tell them that every account needs to be recorded, including the time, place, person, and amount. If they falsely report profits, the whole store will be confiscated. Damn, if you weren't wearing a Navy uniform, I would have thought you were the leader of the pirates. Leslie said dully, but, there has never been such a rule. Bai Ye said casually, before, that was because I didn't come. Now that I'm here, the rules must be changed. The reason why this place was allowed to become a lawless zone in the past was mainly because the forces here were intertwined. There were people from the 4 Emperors pirate group, the 7 warlords of the sea, the underground forces, and even the world government. It would be very troublesome to move. Moreover, this is the only way for pirates to enter the new world. A large number of pirates come here every day, and they can't be cleaned up at all. The 4 emperors in the new world would not let the Navy block the entrance directly, otherwise they would lack fresh blood. The Navy saw that many pirate supernovas died in the hands of the 4 emperors after entering the new world. So why stop them? Isn't it easier to watch the pirates fight each other? So under the condition of mutual compromise and acquiescence of all parties, the lawless zone in front of us will be created. Major General Bai Ye, if we really do this, what if those merchants run to other islands? Ferguson raised a more practical question. These people are not fools. They all have 2 legs. If they can't stay in this place, then I can go to another place. Anyway, there are a total of 29 islands in the Sabaody archipelago that belong to the lawless zone. Doing business anywhere is not doing business. You reminded me. Bai Ye took out a dendenmushi from the drawer and called it directly to Sengoku in front of everyone. The dendenmushi changed its form slightly and became the appearance of Sengoku with a pair of round-framed glasses and a goat-like beard. Dendenmushi imitated Sengoku vividly. They watched Bai Ye curiously pulling the simulated goatee of dendenmushi, and their hearts could not help but tremble. Oh my goodness, this is the Admiral of the Navy. It's Bai Ye. What's the matter with you calling me? Bai Ye got straight to the point. Marshal Sengoku, I'm in charge of Island 1 to 29 of Shampudi. You can either transfer those people to other places, or make them my subordinates. Choose one of these two methods. Smoker and others standing aside were shocked by Bai Ye's casual appearance and plain words. Is this the attitude of calling the boss of your boss's boss? Are you calling your subordinates? Chapter 48 Money. Death. Dendenmushi imitated Zanji Yuo's slightly embarrassed expression. From Bai Ye's not so good tone, Zanji Yuo probably guessed that Bai Ye knew that he was using him as a pawn. Ahem. Bai Ye, I'm the Admiral of the Navy after all. Your superior and your master Zifa has been my old comrade for decades. Is this your attitude towards me? Bai Ye smiled. Then should I call my master later? Tell me how his old comrade took care of his only disciple. Hearing this, Zanji Yuo also felt a headache. This kid was hard to please. Besides, he was indeed in the wrong in this matter. Zanji Yuo said awkwardly, forget it, forget it. You are Zifa's apprentice, and you are also half of my apprentice. It is only right for you to take care of him. Don't bother your master with such a small matter. What exactly do you want to do? Either give me 1 billion balers as military expenses, or give me the jurisdiction of Island 1 to 29 of Shampudi. Bai Ye's tone can be said to be quite impolite, but he has the capital to be rude, which Zanji Yuo knows, so he chose to use Bai Ye as a gun. Bai Ye also knows this, so he dares to speak to Zanji Yuo so rudely. Now Bai Ye just wants a little labor fee. Dendenmushi pretended to be shocked. Why don't you go and rob the 1 billion balers? If I wasn't wearing a navy uniform, I really wanted to rob it. Zanji Yuo knew Bai Ye's strength, and also knew that, if Bai Ye really wanted to rob, there was no guarantee that the 4 emperors would really become the 5 emperors. He had to say with a headache, okay, then, the jurisdiction of Sabaody Island 1 to 29 belongs to you. There are a total of 7 branch bases. I will notify them to follow your command. Seeing that his goal was achieved, Bai Ye instantly changed to a respectful tone and said, thank you, Marshal Zanji Yuo. I will definitely manage Sabaody Island 1 to 29 well and not let Marshal Zanji Yuo worry. Bai Ye's attitude changed so quickly that Zanji Yuo was a little unprepared. Zanji Yuo was silent for a while and said, pay attention to the degree, don't do it too hard at once. In addition, you should be careful. I will do it, you can rest assured. After hanging up the phone, Bai Ye said proudly, look, what a simple thing. It can be done by making a phone call. Smoker and others were silent. This matter is simple for you, but if a major general spoke to Marshal Zanji Yuo in this tone, at the least, he would be demoted, and at the worst, he might be pushed into the city and locked up for a few days. Since number 1 to 29 of Shampudi is under our management, the previous plan remains unchanged, and a few more rules need to be added. Bai Ye is ready to play big. The next morning, the whole Shampudi was in chaos. There were Navy soldiers standing guard at the docks, streets, and intersections. In addition, the new regulations announced by the Navy were posted everywhere. Everyone who goes to the island needs to pay a head fee of 100,000 balers per person, paid once a month, and those who break in will be killed. 2. Ships staying at the dock need to pay a berthing fee, 1 million balers per ship, payable monthly, and those who break in will be killed. 3. Private fighting is not allowed on the island. If there is a need to fight, there is an arena in the center of each island, which can be opened by paying 1 million balers, and those who fight privately will be killed. 4. All merchants must hand in 10% of their profits every month, and every account needs to be recorded, including the time, place, buyer, and amount. If the amount is wrong, you will be killed. The whole store will be confiscated. 5. Transactions of arms, drugs, slaves, etc. must be reported to the Navy before they can be carried out. If they are not reported, they will not be protected by the Navy. If they are inspected by the Navy, all items will be confiscated, and those who violate the order will be killed. These 5 regulations are all about money, 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 money. Die, 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 die. After seeing the regulations, some people directly asserted that this is not about killing people, but cannibalism. The lawless zone is full of evil people, and there are no rules to speak of. But now someone is making rules in the lawless zone, which has never happened in the past few decades. Even most of Bai Ye's Navy soldiers were not optimistic about Bai Ye's actions. But this was an order issued by their superiors, so they could only obey. Soldiers were distributing new regulations everywhere on the streets. When the soldiers distributed the regulations in their hands, the people around them did not even take them. Some even took the flyers and tore them to pieces and threw them directly on the soldiers' faces. For a moment, the originally chaotic lawless zone actually felt a sense of common hatred against the enemy. I have come to the lawless zone at least 10 times, if not 20 times, and I have never seen such an outrageous regulation. A captain of a certain pirate group said angrily, "Is the Navy crazy about money? Don't they know why this place is called the lawless zone? Pay the fee. I don't pay a fart. Are there any brave brothers? How about we rob the naval base on the island?" This idea spread like wildfire in shampoo. The news soon reached the ears of Zanjiuo, who carefully examined the rules set by Bai Ye. Zanjiuo not only did not feel excessive, but even felt that it was quite reasonable. Heavy punishments are used in troubled times. In a place like the no man's land, only when they know that they will lose their lives if they don't obey will they become obedient. However, if this rule is to be implemented, it may encounter resistance from all sides. I don't know if Bai Ye can withstand it. Grand Line, Dressrosa Kingdom in a manner. Doflamingo, wearing a pink feather coat, sat at the highest point, and the people sitting below were all the Carters of the Don Quixote family. Doflamingo was holding the new rules issued by Bai Ye in the Sabayodi archipelago. After reading these 5 rules, Doflamingo laughed strangely. Hey, 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 it seems that the Navy that issued these 5 rules is a bit murderous. Tremble, who was sitting in the first row, said, "Young master, the Navy issued such rules in the Sabayodi archipelago. If they are really implemented, it will probably have a significant impact on our business." Diamond fiddled with the sword in his hand and said indifferently, "I heard that the one who issued the rules was just a rear admiral. How about we kill him secretly? Even if the Navy finds out that it was us who did it, they can't do anything to us." Doflamingo shook his head and disagreed with Diamond's opinion. "We can't do it. This Bai Ye is said to be Zifa's apprentice. He is quite powerful and not that easy to deal with. And even if we really want to do it, we can't let the Navy know that it was us who did it." Doflamingo is not afraid of Zifa. To exaggerate, he is not even afraid of the Navy. It's just that the trade with the Beast's pirates is gradually becoming stable. If he rashly kills Zephyr's apprentice and attracts the attention of the Navy, thus ruining his business, Kaido would really dare to kill him. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 49, Black Eating Black. Master Bai Ye, what are we going out for today? Dashiki hugged Zio Shijo tightly and followed Bai Ye with her head down. Bai Ye was not wearing a navy uniform, but a more casual outfit. Without turning his head, he said, "Didn't I tell you that I dragged you out today to buy a famous sword? There may be many sword masters and great sword masters who use swords on the sea. But when it comes to understanding famous swords, these people can't compare to Dashiki. After all, Dashiki's dream is to collect all the famous swords in the hands of villains one day. How can you do it if you don't know enough about famous swords?" So Bai Ye called Dashiki out and prepared to let her help choose. When she heard about buying a famous sword, Dashiki immediately became interested and came to Bai Ye with excitement. "Buy a famous sword? Master Bai Ye, are you going to buy it for me? Wow, I'm so touched." Master Bai Ye, you are so kind to me. Looking at Ashiki's excitement, Bai Ye didn't know whether he should tell the truth for a while. However, it is normal for Dashiki to think this way. After all, Bai Ye has almost never used a knife since they met. In Dashiki's opinion, she is the only one among Bai Ye's subordinates who uses a knife. Now he even called her out to buy a knife. If it is not for her, who else could it be for? After Dashiki knew that he was buying a famous sword for herself, she began to dislike Bai Ye's slow pace and acted more actively. The enthusiasm shown by Dashiki made Bai Ye feel guilty if he did not buy her a famous sword. After visiting several weapon stores, although there were some good knives, none of them met the standard of a good sword. After visiting several islands, the two did not even see a good sword, let alone a large sword. From this point of view, Zoro lived up to the name of the protagonist. 2 good swords can be bought in a small weapon store in Rogue Town. Later, he got Autumn Water and Enma. Although Bai Ye knew that the large sword Autumn Water was in the hands of Gecko Moria, he did not have the energy to take it now. At the very least, the rules of the Sabaody archipelago must be thoroughly implemented. Only in this way can Bai Ye leave with peace of mind. Otherwise, if the rules set by Bai Ye are broken at will Bai Ye still have face? And to put it bluntly, with the current strength of Smoker and others, they can't control the situation at all. Bai Ye's existence is a basis for implementing the rules. It was not until dusk that the two found a good sword in a weapon store. Master Bai Ye, look, this sword should be Fengming, one of the 50 good swords. Tashiji took Fengming and showed it to Bai Ye like a treasure. The blade is about 90 centimeters long. The blade is extremely sharp. The blade is long, the arc is large, and it is covered with light blue patterns. Although Bai Ye didn't know much about swords before, after accepting the kendo knowledge of Atomic Samurai, he can still see something. This Fengming is pretty good. Even if it is not as good as the big sword, it is not far behind. As the two were watching, the shop owner said in a bad tone, hey, little girl, this is a treasure of my shop. Don't touch it if you don't want to buy it. Dashiki pushed down her glasses and said stubbornly, who said we don't want to buy it? Boss, how much is your knife? Hearing that he wanted to buy a knife, the boss immediately put away his impatient expression and said with a smile, this Fengming is not only one of the 50 great sharp swords, but also my heirloom. So, before he finished speaking, Bai Ye interrupted him and said, how much is it? Name a price. The boss spoke of Fengming as extremely important as soon as he opened his mouth, obviously wanting to raise the price. The boss saw that Dashiki really liked this knife. His eyes flashed, and he showed a lewd smile, rubbing his hands and said, 8 million baileys. Dashiki screamed, 8 million baileys? Your price is too high, isn't it? Bai Ye, who was standing by, couldn't help but frown when he heard the price. Generally speaking, a 50 great sharp sword costs about 2 or 3 million baileys. To be more exaggerated, it is only 5 million berries, and it is absolutely impossible to exceed this price. The price of a large sharp sword of 21 work is only around 10 or 20 million. Don't think that any devil fruit can be sold at a high price of 100 million. That is because a devil fruit in the hands of ordinary people can also make ordinary people's strength change dramatically. Giving an ordinary person a famous sword is just a sharp kitchen knife for him. The improvement in strength is almost zero, and the effect is negligible. This is also the reason why famous swords on the sea are generally not expensive. This boss obviously saw that Dashiki liked this sword very much and wanted to cheat them, so he directly raised the price so high. It's not high, this is my heirloom, and there are only 50 in the sea. It is extremely rare to encounter one. The boss explained with a smile. But, this price. Although Dashiki couldn't let go of Fengming, she also knew the situation of Bai Ye in the base. Let alone 8 million berries. 3 million berries are not enough to be taken out at once. When a kind-hearted kid like Tashiji was still struggling with not having money, Bai Ye, the evil guy, had already started to memorize the names and specific locations of the stores. Bai Ye was not without the thought of robbing, but he gave up the idea. There was no need for that, because he wanted to make the Sabaody archipelago a place with rules, even if he made the rules. But he still had to respect his own rules a little. Besides, it would be solo to rob by force. He would just send the Navy to say that the boss was suspected of arms business and did not report to the Navy, and take him away and lock him up and confiscate the whole store. This would not only save money on buying knives, but also serve as a warning to others. Let other stores see the consequences of violating the rules, killing two birds with one stone. Just as Bai Ye was thinking, the boss's thieving eyes suddenly glanced at Tashige's arms. Of course, this was not because the boss was lusting, but because Tashige was holding a large sharp sword in her arms, the 21st-year-old Zioshija. The price of a large sharp sword is 7 or 8 times that of a good sharp sword. The boss's mind became active after seeing this. He looked at the man and woman in front of him. The man was handsome and the woman was beautiful. They looked harmless and dressed like ordinary people. Moreover, they were so entangled when they heard about 8 million berries. They must not be powerful people. 100% profit is enough to make people take risks. What's more, this is a business with no capital. The boss smiled and said, if you really want it, I can give you a discount. The silly girl Dashiki was overjoyed and said, really? Boss, you are such a good person. While the two were talking, Bai Ye had already noticed something was wrong. With a bang, the door behind the two was closed. Chapter 50, Dark Girl. The store instantly became dark, with only 2 candle flames swaying constantly, emitting a faint light, and the atmosphere suddenly became weird. Although Bai Ye had not experienced it, he had read so many novels and TV dramas. Seeing this situation, he instantly understood what the boss wanted to do. Damn, those who do business in the lawless zone are indeed not serious people. But it is true, who would come to the lawless zone to do business? However, the silly girl did not realize that something was wrong, and hugged Feng Ming and said silly, hey, boss, how much cheaper can you give us? If it's much cheaper, we will buy it. Bai Ye almost laughed out loud. In all his years in the pirate industry, he has never seen such a nervous girl. Even the boss was amused by Dashika's silly question. Isn't this girl in front of you a fool? Although it is not good to bully a fool, it is for the purpose of making money, not shabby. The boss smiled and said, how about I give it to you for free? During the conversation, the boss pulled out the long knife from under the cabinet, and 4 burly men came out from the inner room, holding weapons and surrounding Bai Ye and Dashiki with ferocious faces. At this time, even if Dashiki was very strong, he should have reacted. Dashiki asked stupidly, you want to rob us? The boss picked up the long knife and pretended to chop and said greedily, hand over Zioshiju in your arms, otherwise you two will not leave the store alive today. Dashiki was not worried but happy, pulling Bai Ye's arm and jumping up and down, and said excitedly, Lord Bai Ye, he actually wanted to rob us. Then we can arrest them legitimately and confiscate all these weapons, so we don't have to spend money to buy them. Anyway, we don't have money to buy them. Well, there is no good person in the room. Even Dashiki, who looks silly, is a black-bellied one. Alas, the scum in the army. Bai Ye sighed, will my soldiers become pirates in navy uniforms in the future? Now it was the boss's turn to be dumbfounded. What's going on? You two are surrounded by 5 of us, and you look so excited. At this point, the boss didn't care so much and said sternly, go. No matter who the 2 people in front of him are, kill them first. With Dashiki around, Bai Ye is naturally too lazy to take action. If the boss takes care of everything, what are these little brothers for? Are you shouting 666 on the side? Dashiki entered the serious mode, no longer the silly look before, and a unique aura of a swordsman emerged. Zioshiyu's knife came out, a cold light flashed, and instantly killed the 4 big men. Crack. The knife in the boss's hand broke into 2 pieces, and Zioshiyu's thin blade was across the boss's neck. Master Bai Ye, are you going to kill this guy? The boss fell to his knees, kowtowed and begged, don't kill me. Don't kill me. I was bewitched and attacked you too. I can give you everything in the store. I have 20 million bales hidden somewhere else. As long as you can let me go, I'm willing to tell you the location. He never thought that this girl who looked silly and stupid actually had such strong strength. Bai Ye thought for a while and said, don't kill him first. Ask Smoker to come and seal up this store, take the boss back, and lock him up, and move all the things back. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Seeing that Bai Ye didn't kill him, the boss thought he had saved his life and was immediately excited. But if he knew Bai Ye's plan, he would probably think it would be better to be killed here. When the two walked to the base, it was already midnight. Although it was late at night, Dashiki didn't show any sleepiness and couldn't let go of Fengming. Bai Ye coughed and said, "Give it to me." "Huh? What do you want?" Dashiki subconsciously hugged Zai Xiao and Fengming tightly in her arms. To her, nothing is more important than these two famous swords. Bai Ye saw that Dashiki was like a kitten protecting its food and knocked on Dashiki's head in annoyance. "Ah, it hurts." Dashiki rubbed his head with one hand, hugged the two swords with the other hand, puffed up his mouth, and looked at Bai Ye pitifully like a hamster. It seemed that, if Bai Ye said another word, I would cry. Bai Ye said helplessly, "Give Fengming to me, it's considered a loan, and I will return Fengming to you when I find a better sword." Seeing that Dashiki seemed to want to say something else, Bai Ye raised his eyebrows. "If you don't lend it to me, your daily training volume will double, and I will personally specially train you every day. You can do it yourself." Although Bai Ye's special training can be considered training, most of them are one-sided beatings. Bai Ye also said that this was to train their resistance and promote the practice of armament haki. Smoker and others felt uncomfortable when they heard about Bai Ye's special training. However, to be honest, being beaten can indeed promote the practice of armament haki. Seeing that Bai Ye said it was a loan and threatened him with special training. "Okay, then I'll lend it to you. You must remember to return it." "Ah." Then Dashiki reluctantly handed Fengming to Bai Ye, and her eyes were as if Bai Ye had snatched her own son away from her. For a moment, Bai Ye felt guilty and felt that he had gone too far. But Bai Ye changed his mind and realized that he was not a good person to begin with, so there was no guilt for him. After taking Fengming, Bai Ye hung it on his waist, and his whole aura was instantly different. If you say that he had the feeling of a gentleman in troubled times before, now he is a swordsman wandering the sea. Along the way, Bai Ye could still hear Dashiki's unwilling muttering from time to time. "You obviously can't use a sword, but you have to hang a famous sword to pretend. It's really a waste of natural resources." Dashiki looked at Fengming several times and said sincerely, "But Lord Bai Ye feels much more handsome after wearing a sword." Bai Ye heard this and smiled without saying anything. "This is a woman." The next day, in the early morning, Bai Ye asked Ferguson, "How is it? Have you found the location where the owner of the weapon shop hid the money?" "Well," he explained it, "as soon as he came yesterday, and the soldiers sent out have found it. The things in the weapon shop have also been put into the armory." Ferguson feels like a butler under Bai Ye. There is no way. Smoker and Quick don't like to use their brains. Dashiki is often confused, and Leslie is too weak. In this way, only Ferguson is more suitable. "By the way, Major General Bai Ye, since the money has been found, are you going to let the boss go?" Bai Ye smiled. "It's impossible to let him go. It's just that we won't kill him now." End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.